Stocks mostly higher here to start things off once again this morning, back at session highs basically right now on the back of a decent earnings report from Palantir after the close last night. Stock is down, however, in the pre-market here this morning. We'll touch on that. Shopify, another one downside here this morning. Decent numbers coming from Shop. We'll get into all of those. Some job cuts to come across this morning as well, causing a little bit of interesting price action in crypto, specific crypto names. Coinbase cutting 14% of their workforce. Coinbase higher on that news, of course, this morning, but never want to hear that. Also, PayPal coming through with some job cuts attached to their earnings report this morning. We do get some interesting economic data coming up today, so just keep that in mind a little bit later on. We'll bring you these as they come this morning. 8:30 specifically, import-export data, balance of trade, going to be interesting given all that is going on. ISM Services PMI for April coming up at 10 o'clock this morning. And then JOLTS. We get non-farm payrolls end of the week. JOLTS, the first of three employment-related numbers this week. So decent look at the economy over the next coming days here. AMD, obviously, the big one coming up tonight after the close as well. But yeah, market liking so far. Some of these earnings reports, AMD, as I mentioned, higher heading into this earnings tonight. Palantir was an interesting report from them, but market selling off. I mean, this thing's up huge, so taking a little bit of profits.
Yeah, trying to hold that 140 level, not that much. Brendo here down 2.75 to start the morning. We'll have to see if it can have a recovery bid to start the day, but as you mentioned, good report there. USO also in focus. Apparently there is movement in the Strait, if you believe that. There's a different approach being taken by the U.S. Navy here, Brendo. So what the Iranians had done was the ships were being guided about 2 to 5 kilometers off their shore. That put them within, let's just call it what it is, striking distance of the shore. What the Americans have done is they've moved that a little bit more west, about 25, 30 kilometers off the Iranian shores, creating sort of an artificial pathway. They've, if you believe the reports, have gone through, cleared the mines that were there, and now are escorting ships a little bit farther away from the shore. So we'll see if that makes any difference with respect to the strikes that we saw yesterday as well. Shopify reporting this morning on semi, also Race, Ferrari reporting, as well as Duolingo and Fly as well, up big here, up over 10%. And then Intel and Samsung could get in business with Apple as Apple looks to diversify their basically their chip business away from Taiwan Semi. Too much concentration risk there. Good for Intel.
I saw that headline on Ferrari. I didn't see what it was doing. It's down a little bit, not really doing a heck of a lot for Race in New York, trading in Milan already this morning, downside as well, but trying to bounce. Anyways, there's USO right now. Just wild price action. If you go back to yesterday morning in the pre-market, huge move up. We give all of that back and then right back up again throughout the day, and then we give all of that back again. Here we are downside. So it's just back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. I mean, I think more and more headlines I was reading this morning on this were suggesting a little bit about what we were talking about yesterday. The clock is ticking here. It's going to get to a point where the lack of supply around the world is going to overshadow any of this nonsense, back and forth nonsense that's actually happening. And I think by that time, people are going to get to a point where, we need to get some sort of resolution.
It's been almost 2 months since ships have been flowing out of there normally. And again, we don't really have the problem with the supply in North America. We're well supplied, but the prices keep going up. Yeah. And you just take a look at the gas stations, easy to see that. Yeah. It's a world market and we're not spared.
So volatility going to be the key here for energy markets anyways. Back down right now, but just wait for the next headline to come through and we could be heading in the opposite direction. Ton of individual names moving around this morning, guys. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. And you know what? For all the, Palantir had a ridiculous quarter and still looks like it went to the downside, and it has for now, and maybe it even stays there. NASDAQ's up. Bitcoin's over 80K. We got AMD tonight. You got Coinbase laying off 14%. That might break out on the daily. Here, you get crypto looking very good, and a complete shocker on Pinterest, though. Yeah, that's the one that stands out. Like Firefly, okay. I can see that for sure. Duolingo down, okay. No surprise there. But Pinterest, 17%. Strong growth for them, too, and user growth as well. So, congratulations on Pinterest shareholders. there are any. For GameStop and eBay, I'm thinking this is a sell again today on any kind of a pop. Just more profit takers coming in here. There's just more doubt about this actually happening, and that was the concern. The math wasn't mathing yesterday, and it was basically trend down. But a level emerged at 111, like right at the open, like first pop, and then another one there. So kind of continue that. Like this, it's just a lot of hurdles to even consider that happening. And given the fact that anyone in eBay can like sell and take some profit off of this now if it pops up, I think there's still going to be some sellers if this thing catches another bid. So I'm going to think the same thing about this. As far as GameStop goes, it's probably in its own beast. I'd probably just ignore that one today, even though it was also weak. But yeah, really good start for the market being slightly up here. I like it. I'll take it.
Yeah, I mean, it's another good day. Yesterday we were only down 0.19. So nothing to worry about there yesterday. And then today we're coming up another 0.6. So it looks like we'll try to get to that record high again here for the NASDAQ. And look at Intel. I mean, Intel's up another 3.5% here on that potential Apple news. Had a little bit of a dip down yesterday into 95 bucks. We haven't seen too many red days at all on Intel, yet alone that big one yesterday from 100 bucks. That was a big short that we had yesterday, and today I'm flipping it up. Yesterday was Intel short. Today the sticky note's already out. We've got Intel long written down here today. So this is some of the stuff that we're going to be looking at. Happy Cinco de Mayo to everybody there today. Yesterday, of course, we had tacos, which was kind of strange considering today is the day. But there's Intel. See if we can get it back into 98. I don't know if that's even going to be happening. So watch out for the 200 period. We're going to set our alerts today. iBit 45.50, same kind of ways. TQ's long, Shopify long. So we're looking risk on here today as the market continues to bump upside. And there goes oil starting to go down. And oops, that's the wrong one. USO. I don't know. We just heard something about
Hegseth.
Yeah, Hegseth speaking. So Iran will face overwhelming firepower if attacks commercial ships. Okay. So we've heard that before. I don't know why that's rallying the market too much, but there goes oil down a little bit. Market right here trying to tick through its pre-market highs, and maybe we just did that actually, up to 28,000 again. There, that's going to be a big top. I remember when 25 was talked about for a minute. So we'll be looking at things like that. And yeah, we were talking about the Knicks there, got absolutely destroyed Philly yesterday. So that should be a fun one to look at. Tesla moving right now too, apparently.
Well, Tesla has
395. Yeah, so good little level there for Tesla now breaking through. We'll see if we can test 400. That could come right off the open as well. And then been talking a little bit about Palantir, not really expecting a whole heck of a lot from this name. And I was like, wow, if we ever got to 160, we definitely would sell some of that. We didn't get there. We had a nice little bump right when that number was released into 150. And then everything was all good, but the guide a little lower there for Palantir. So we'll talk more about that stock as we go, but 142.50 here for PLTR. And then, today's day is about AMD. So we'll see what that wants to do here today, and they're reporting tonight, right?
So, no love for MSCI or SMCI, sorry.
SMCI
allegedly reporting today. MF Dangerous is like, are they reporting today? I don't know. Supposedly, you know how it goes with SMCI.
Yeah, sometimes they've either come late or they don't.
Yeah, or it's just like a little miscommunication here or there, and it ends up like a couple hours later. I don't know. We'll report the numbers when they come out for them, but they're a dog. AMD's a beast.
AMD's probably 405 or 410, something like that, so we'll get it all figured out. Which time? 4:15. Oh, gosh. Okay, so we'll probably stay till 4:15 or so, get that number out to you guys today, but it should be a good one. You had race report. Yeah, there it is. You have it up there, AMD. SMCI. Oh,
Lumentum.
Super micro.
Lumentum, baby. There's one. Yeah, come on. Like, that's a biggie. Failed 1,000. Well, you know what? Failed 1,000 is a silly thing to say. Turned at $1,000.
Right.
Failed 1,000. If it's back at like $900, you could say that. But Lumentum, another like absolute rocket ship name. So yeah, it's not only AMD that's going to be reporting tonight. Scott Tomlinson says that SMCI, NVIDIA should buy them. Why would NVIDIA do that? They don't need the problems. But yeah, there should be a lot to look at. I like that Tesla. Tesla's.
Yeah, what was the news there? Full self-drive in Europe, maybe?
It's a pretty good-looking consolidated chart for a push. And there's room. Like, if you look at these candles, okay, well, forget about at the earnings jump and just sort of look at this resistance up at like 406. Like if you break away, you've got room for this to hold some kind of a gap here on TSLA. Good one. Gonna have to put this one on the watch today. I was gonna go back to crypto. Yes, Bitcoin 81. As we see iBit cruising here. Been all upside in the pre-market. Like it's just been gliding and gliding higher. Pops Mafia says have a look at BBAI.
They're reporting. They're not doing anything right now.
Yeah, but they don't report till after. Say again?
Oh, spring rolls. Okay.
Okay.
Eggs and spring rolls.
Spring rolls were tasty. They were just greasy last
I don't know if they go together or not, but.
Well, I'm not saying no.
I'm going to come get some in a second.
Yeah, we'll grab breakfast in a second.
There. Thanks, Randy. Good to see Randy back here, of course. Yeah, Tuesday now. What the?
They were like, see, usually they come
Actually,
green
feel
and you
okay.
hold it for a day, but these ones are
okay.
definitely ripe right now.
Feel okay. Yeah, good to have Randy back in here on not a great report there, down 5%. We thought that one could be one of the ones that had, performed really well into the number, and they are not receiving that really well. I didn't go through the numbers or anything, but on right here was one of the ones that we thought could beat yesterday, or not beat, but have a good reaction, because we saw NXPI starting to go to the upside on their report as well. So here's NXPI semiconductors. They should be going to the downside a little bit today. Oh no, maybe not. Upside when they busted through, and not downside when on reporting. So we'll have to check out for them. And then NVIDIA, we'll see if it can have that 200 pin again to it at some point here today. So waiting out for 199.25 to see if we break through yesterday's sort of peak level there. So we'll see. That's actually not a bad trade either, with the market starting to get going here. We're above VWAP, we're above the 200 period moving average and everything. Oh, the spring rolls did make an appearance there.
Oh, this
199.25. That's actually with sauce. That's actually not that bad of a level right there for NVIDIA. I already put the note out, but we could add some NVIDIA. Oh my God, it's those kind of spring rolls. What am I going to do with 2 spring rolls? Like, what is going on here? I just so much rather have eggs. But okay, 199.25, not a bad level there for NVDA. We're getting ready to rock and roll here. Thanks, Randy, for the food there as we go on back and forth here with spring rolls. But
Palantir's popping here already.
Why is it doing that? Oh yeah, wow.
It's like flying
time.
a little bit here.
As the market goes back.
Yeah, but this is.
Oh shoot, man! We said risk on.
The dip buy levels are going to move on Palantir. We'll figure it out. Obviously, when it was gap down, you're looking, you're trying to pull back into prior support. Now you're filling in the gap. So, put the note out, and then the market breaks through fresh highs. Initially thinking like 140, that might be the level. Got that crazy dark pool wick on a few days back. Yeah, I mean 140 is around the pre-market low. But if you get all the way back in there, you might not love it. VWAP will be potentially a bit of a play here. But with the market barely bouncing, Palantir threatening to go green today, you're seeing pretty much everything run. Ooh, that DXYZ is going again? Mm-hmm. Destiny. Destiny's been running. Yesterday, big day for Destiny, and another high break today, so 5%. This has a chance to break some big levels up there. So yeah, the market looking pretty good. And Palantir, usually you get like the dips on the dip and rip in earnings. They're not lasting as long. It's like we're still getting good earnings sold off, but you're not really getting as much continuation. Like this one getting bought up already. And SanDisk bought up almost that same day. Like that whole, give yourself a chance to dip and rip, just not happening. I'm gonna try one of these.
Yeah, try one of those. All right, guys. We're gonna be covering everything here. It's nice to see this market running to the high side right there. You talked about, Brendan and Sharif just talked about the volatility in USO, and there it goes downside a little bit here for USO. But those are just like the normal. I think those are like the Costco kind of spring rolls. But whatever. I don't expect them to be made, just for us. So thanks, Randy, for all that. We'll have some spring rolls, and we'll go back over to the desk. We got Joe with options coming up soon as well.
All right, yeah, we're back to the upside here. This Pentagon briefing still going on. It looks like they're talking about some Marines, 22,500 Marines trapped in the Gulf and unable to transit. So that kind of seemed to kick off a little bit of a move there in the overall market, including a move higher here for Palantir back to basically 2 days ago. some resistance levels coming into play for PLTR. I mean, we can dig into this a little bit. It was, I mean, as we said, just a crazy, crazy report. 85% revenue growth, 33 cents EPS. Valuation, though, standing out there 46 times on earnings at this point.
Brendo, they quadrupled net income. That's the take-home money. That's the profitability. Quadrupled. $214 million is what they took home last year for profitability. Jump up to $870.5 million, closing in on that $1 billion worth of profitability. And, you know, when you look at the revenue itself, the revenue is $1.63 billion. So they're taking home net income. What are their gross margins if their net margins here are almost 50% or thereabouts? So fantastic look. Also raising the full year guide. They're guiding full year revenue 7.65 to 7.66. The street was looking for 7.27 specifically for Q2. So their Q2, that is $1.8 billion in revenue. They're guiding. The street was looking for basically 1 2/3. So another beat there. U.S. government revenue up 84% year over year. But let's get to the one that I like the most and that you and I have been talking about, as well as the guys as well. Commercial revenue, Brendo, 133% year over year increase in that number. So that's a good look. I like that. I like it, but you know, it feels like it's really run up so much in anticipation that these would be the numbers. So I don't know if the price reacts. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, it's, as we said, not a huge move. 2%. It was a little bit more than 2%, so maybe people just taking advantage of 2% cheaper at this point this morning on the back of those good numbers. Here's Shopify, meanwhile, coming back into 1, 2, 3 days ago. Some support level going back to last week here, 120, 119, 118, we'll call it at the bottom there. On a bit of a bounce right now. It was the questionable consumer, it seems, as the negative that the market took.
Yeah, their Q2 guidance in line, so not a beat. Kind of keeping an eye on that. Expectations were certainly elevated. And here's what they're saying. Look, the macro backdrop is the key overhang. It's the tariffs, the Middle East conflict kind of pushing up costs. We're talking about fuel, we're talking about logistics, increasing that cost number there, rising operating expenses for merchants as well, and a possible slowdown in spend, as you mentioned, with the consumer. All these variables are keeping kind of investors on the sideline.
Yeah, I mean, again, it could be a lot worse here if you zoom out. Really not a huge move. We're just back to that last pivot point on the daily chart after we bounce back up to 130, 132. So, I mean, still chopping around in a range here, guys, for Shopify, but I mean, it does raise some question marks, I think, as far as what is to come.
Yeah, like when you're...
I think the business is firing on all cylinders.
Yeah, the uncertainty, I guess, is going to be a bit of the issue. You know, this was one that was very much primed. Like, you know, if you had a little bit more certainty, you probably get the breakout that you're looking for on the weekly chart here on Shopify. Whether it's able to do that in the overhang now, I think you'd probably just want to see the support come in. There's been a lot of buying at the 110 there. You should probably find that on the note as well. And if it had been SSR, it would be on my list. It would have gone down and bounced in front of that support level. Again, with the uncertainty, like, I don't know, we get a couple of good headlines here, like, oh, we'll take responsibility of the Strait, and maybe this will only be another 2 weeks to conflict. But the market sort of knows which names are a little bit less affected by it. Like, we're getting leadership from the chips and leadership from AI for a reason, because those are the types of names where you just feel a little bit better about the growth and not having to worry about supply chains as badly here. And obviously, you know, this is a name that has worked really, really well, but you cannot ignore that it has been in a malaise for about it's the entire year. Like, it's basically the start of the year. It's mid-January, and we've just been sitting around in a 110 to 135 range. So it would have been a lot more exciting for me had it either maybe traded into the support level or giving you a chance at a breakout, but instead of that, we'll look for a bit of a pass. But there's always something interesting when we look at options, and I just got, you know Palantir is going to be on the list. That's not any surprise, right? It's Palantir earnings day. You know we'll be talking about them with Joey Options.
You got that correct, Neil. All right, guys, let's take a look at some of the options activity from yesterday's session. Of course, we're going to kick things off with some Palantir, and then we'll get into a little bit more, you guessed it, Palantir. All right, guys, let's kick it off with the $142 strike price, slightly trading in the money at this point, but after the close yesterday, this was an OTM contract, okay? So it was down slightly, but nonetheless, let's take a look into some of the metrics. Now, open interest sitting around 14,000, guys, at that $142 level, but relatively light volume. Speaking, they reported after the bell yesterday. That's going to be expiring on May 8th. Now, as for the bid and the ask, the reason why I brought up this specific contract is relatively expensive, okay? And it had the most amount of open interest throughout this expiration cycle on the call side. Now we're sitting at $9.35 and then $9.20 on the bid. That's a $15 spread. That's relatively wide for Palantir. But one thing that we will take a look at is the exposure to delta. Some of our Greek metrics here sitting around that $61. That's pretty hefty. And what we're essentially going to see is that after the open, we'll see a fluctuation not only in the delta, so you'll see an increase in this specific contract, but then you'll also see an increase in the at-the-money IV, 115.7%. I wouldn't be surprised if we see slight upticks, but be cautious and be prepared for day after day for that to start to slowly come in. Now, compared to the previous contract they were just looking at, the $142 strike price on the call side, I want us to take a look at the put side here. And we're going to go all the way down to $125. Now, the volume substantial and open interest relatively high here, guys. Speaking so, it is extremely out of the money as well, considering we're trading up in the 140s, but the open interest sitting around 9,530 with 17,000 contracts open and closed, okay? That was the most amount on the put side, but I want to look at the discrepancy between the bid and the ask that we looked at on our call contracts. So you're almost looking at $1,000 for those specific ones. These are less than 100, okay? And these are farther out of the money. Now, as for our delta, you can see there's very little exposure just due to the fact that it is so far out of the money. And the exact same thing with your gamma. It's going to have the exact same expiration cycle, but the at-the-money IV sitting around 115%, that's not going to change throughout your put and call. But one thing that we will note is that after that sell, you will see a slight uptick within this specific put contract just due to the increase in implied volatility and then also the selling down 2+% here this morning. Moving forward, GameStop is another name that we wanted to take a look at. An out-the-money contract here, guys, we can tell by our delta. But one thing that we do want to look at is this $26 mark, trading roughly around $23. Open interest at 28,500 with a volume substantial here, guys, 41,500. And you can see that our bet in the ask, relatively tight, only a $2 spread, which isn't bad whatsoever. Now, gamma exposure, relatively high. You would see a 0 after that decimal point, but nonetheless, we're sitting at $12. And now the at-the-money IV, slight uptick around 71.2%. Now, let's focus on the contract itself. So we heard the news was released that they're looking to acquire eBay, but nonetheless, what do we have within this contract? Off of that catalyst, a 589% increase within that specific contract from the bottom to the top. You can see it's slowly starting to come back, and in the value of the contract is reverted right back to the mean. Let's send it back to Neil, Sean.
Thank there, Joe, and Palantir actually running off that 142.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's a nice level.
Yeah, like that's the thing. Like it broke out pretty decently from there, and looks like you're gonna fill in the gap, and the buyers have come right back in. You know what? I mean, it's not necessarily VWAP, but looking for a dip level, it just gives another place. If it comes back in heavy at the open, just gives another place for you to look to pick up that bid. GameStop is not really. On the other hand, GameStop is just flat. Flat, more flat. Didn't even get going with the market as the market bounced here. So I don't know what's going to give this one a little bit of pep and step. Palantir's certainly going to be on watch. And yeah, I might even like that 142 coming back in. Forget about some of the prior levels. You're gonzo now, right? Like we're filling in the gap here on this stock. So maybe some VWAP, maybe some 42s. But yeah, GameStop's going to be a pass for me. I still like eBay. I think that can move around a bit. But I feel like GameStop might have to calm down as people try to digest this latest news. I think if it falls far enough, that would be an interesting pickup, but not at these levels.
Yeah, no, I was actually, we talked a little bit about Shopify. I like this sort of 120 area. It's on the node. I want to see us take that back, and be able to hold this view up in and around 119 and change. So I think Shopify actually, with pretty good report overall. I mean, we are worried, as Brendan said, a little bit about the consumer. We're going to hear the jobs number coming out. There's a couple numbers coming out today, and then we had the big one on Friday. So, I think Shopify, with that kind of a report, it looks like a beat all over the place. Should be able to hold this 120. It's coming back in, which you don't like to see as the market. We just started the show, I was up 0.5%. Now you're up 0.75%. Shopify is pulling back in right now into 118. So we just got to be careful about that level. But I actually like this take of 120 if we can hold it. I'm in the midst right now of setting up my alerts, as we talked about that yesterday. So iBit, Intel, Shopify, and then that's supposed to be TQ, so we'll switch that. And trying to make sure that we get long, we hit our prices, because yesterday we missed the iBit, but it was a great trade, and we'll see if we can do that again here today, as it looks like right here we're holding that $80,000 mark, so 81 change right now for iBit. Looking at ETHA or BMNR as well, should be in play today. And then tonight we have strategy, so we have MSTR coming. JKL has been shorting this thing, and not the greatest result as of this point, but there's up another move today, up 3% for MSTR. It's looked like a good, looked like a good level there for MSTR, so that should be interesting tonight. In around 190 right now, so it's a good little level there. Neil, please take a look at Sezzle Technical.
Thanks, Jedi.
They report tomorrow.
Jedi announced, well, yesterday Jedi would make sense. Buy now, pay later, financial services. I mean, PayPal's a disappointment today. It literally didn't even move on their earnings. Affirm had a strong day yesterday. From a technical standpoint, there's a breakout that could happen, but they report, is it tonight? That's tomorrow after the bell, I think he said. Anyways, they report this week. Yeah, there's this potential breakout play here, but look at the resistance at the 50 period on the weekly here. So even if it breaks out, then you want to make sure it holds the week above a technical level. So wicking above it isn't going to be enough here. The weekly chart's the one that stands out for me. It's got a good, higher lows, fine. You've had a little bit of strength in the space recently with the firm. I know they were up 4 points yesterday or something like that. So yeah, there's something there, but the fun chart for me on this one would be the weekly. So even on a beat or a move up, holding the move so you close above 87 and then open, hopefully above 90 or 91 next week would be a better confirmation than just breaking out some kind of a shorter term level on a daily chart. But yeah, interesting name. Probably most people are more familiar or interested in some of the more traditional, like the Affirms of the world.
Yeah, I don't know if we've ever talked about that stuff.
Not really.
Not ever.
No, I don't think so.
I don't know.
Maybe, yeah, you know what?
Probably. It doesn't mean it's not tradable.
Probably never. Yeah. I don't think it's day tradable. It doesn't really do a heck of a lot of volume, 3,000 shares pre-market. But if you're swinging in it, or if you just like the sector in general and you're looking for a play, I would probably prefer Affirm. But
Sezzle, there it is. Affirm reporting tonight, or they already did? They're reporting.
Good question.
It's this week for sure. Affirm.
I think they're on the big day.
Okay. We'll pay attention to Affirm coming up soon today. Yeah, PayPal, a little disappointing, but PayPal's been on a nice little run. So Thursday, okay. So we'll have to see now. Okay, yeah, PayPal. Okay. Now PayPal's coming back in, just hit 49, going lower right now. Okay, this is a little bit of a move here for PayPal just now. So I don't know how that's happened. There must be a call happening right now, right, for PayPal? Downside play there, PYPL. Continuing to go lower. I'm just charging up my headphone over here, Andre. Yeah, okay, so there it goes. PayPal downside. XYZ block. This is another one that we could watch out for. All these earnings are going to be coming through very, very soon, so that's going to be another one. But yeah, PayPal on their discussion right here, making lows right now for PYPL. So not sure exactly what we're talking about. Pinterest was a nice one yesterday, though, up 16%. I mean, sometimes they're so bad, they're so good. And this was the one that we were like, nobody uses Pinterest. And Adara said, her dad does, and so on and so forth. So, but there it is, breaking through 25 would be a good look today for Pinterest. See if that name can get going on a 20+% short float there as well. So, yeah, man, I mean, as we keep saying, every day there's different things happening, and today is another one of those days. So, there we go. Slower growth. Europe looks like another problem over there. We had Europe talk with Tesla as well. But you know what? I mean, look, I don't know if PayPal's a growth story anymore, but Eventually, maybe they get bought out. I don't know. I mean, people now, you can just hit Apple Pay, Google Pay, all that kind of stuff. It's so easy right now to get around PayPal. But I do know that there's, for traditional banking, a lot of people don't even want to have bank accounts, or maybe they don't even have a bank account. So you need to use different financial alternatives to support the life, right? So right there, PayPal. I don't mind.
There, you still have options.
I don't mind PayPal at these levels. I don't know.
Well, let's see how it holds out the 50 period, right? Like that's where the breakout was from on this stock. So if it can't hold 47 today, you got problems. But they don't like what's going on in the call ongoing currently. That's sort of the thing. Like anything that reported this morning, you have to remember we get earnings calls throughout the session. So should make it a little bit interesting. I just remembered too. Carnival's going to be an upweight at the bell tonight. Decent enough size, Carnival Cruise Line, so that could be a bit in play. But yeah, we have a lot of earnings to get through. It's not even, it was a busy day today, but actually gets busier throughout this week, for sure, because I know Thursday is going to be a big one. Speaking of a firm, Uber's one. That's been disappointing.
Uber's been doing nothing for months.
Really disappointing. But as I was saying, like the reason I was bringing up a firm, and it wasn't trying to like throw shade on Sezzle or anything. It was just that I remember a firm was in the midst of a nice little break, and it's right back at the 200 period. Had a very strong day yesterday with a gap up and then holding kind of a bull flag. So that's a chance to break out here today. U.S. trade balance numbers out. Maybe let's go to the desk because we got like it's not a huge. That's not really that big of a number. The trade balance number
looks fine.
It's not a big deal. Looks like
we never really.
Pretty much.
It's pretty much in line, right in the middle of both of those numbers there. So, okay, let's go back. We can discuss that at the desk.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. The export side, positive. Import side, I mean, kind of thereabouts. So overall balance of trade, negative 60.3 billion versus negative 61.4 billion expected on that. So more or less in line with expectations there for balance of trade. Keep in mind 9:45 and then 10 o'clock we'll get more. Both the S&P Global and ISM flavors of PMI for April coming through, and then the JOLTS number at 10 o'clock as well, the first of three decently important employment data numbers coming up. Yeah, it looks like it looks like they dropped the good or the negative nugget on the PayPal call as it was ending. And maybe just hung up the phone and ran because that's what happened as soon as it looks like the call has ended. But yeah, slower growth both in Europe and in certain business divisions, they're saying, going forward into the remainder of the year. So not only affecting the guidance for next quarter, but the rest of 2026.
We're really coming off here, man. Yeah. We're almost 8% here. Negative territory. Yeah, expects Q2 to reflect more pressure on a year-over-year basis. According to the CEO, it's driven by non-recurrence of certain prior year items. Also saying timing of anticipated cost savings and investment may not be in line as they had suggested. So we'll dig more into this. I'm not seeing too much in the way of headlines coming on my blotter right now with respect to what's being said on the call, but one can just infer that from the price action, Brenda. We're losing 8% here. We're on the way to 46. The market's not liking what they hear.
Yeah, there was some reports of job cuts coming through as well for PayPal. This one as well, also coming back in. Coinbase back downside a little bit here right now. 3 days in a row. Decent price action, higher along with crypto markets, really, which it's been a while since Coinbase has actually traded along with Bitcoin. But coming back in right now to 210, 14% of the workforce being cut over at Coinbase. I read through the memo. Brian Armstrong tweeted the memo that he sent out to everyone this morning. And I mean, they essentially pointed right at AI.
I was saying, ask you.
Yeah, saying, things that used to take 4 weeks to ship are now taking 2-3 days. And their work, he said, quote unquote, has changed, or the way they work has changed going forward. So there's another one. Whether you want to really believe it or not, they're using AI as the reason to cut things and make it more lean.
I believe it. Yeah. And I tell you every day, especially with how I do the morning note, a lot of my workflow in the morning, it just makes you so much more productive. Sure. And that's a fact, right? So if I see it with myself, I can certainly see it with others. A lot of different crypto headlines today. Did you see this one as well? Bullish, BLSH, looking to acquire, I don't even know how to pronounce this. Sorry, guys. Equinity for $4.2 billion to build a tokenization infrastructure. Initially sold off on the news, Brendo, BLSH, but looking to kind of pick up again here. There was also the crypto headline of the Clarity Act. Adara covered this yesterday, but we're on the way to 81,000 now on Bitcoin. So you feel like the regulatory clarity has something to do with that. But good, I would say, week and change now, or maybe even a couple of weeks right now for crypto.
It's interesting to see the timing of this announcement from Coinbase specifically as we get the move back higher in Bitcoin, as we get the move back higher in other crypto markets, maybe some more trading volume coming back into the platform. Everything's rosy again.
Everything's great.
Let's cut costs too.
I really wonder though, and we've seen this with Jack Doherty, we've seen it with Andy Jassy and with some other CEOs. They come out, they put the focal point on AI. They say we're more efficient, we're more productive, and then they get a little bit of pressure, maybe from shareholders, the board, their PR firm, who knows? Yeah. And then they walk it back a little bit. They say, oh, well, it's not really all AI. We got to right size. We hire too much, right? So I'd like to see if that happens.
I looked it up. It was globally they have between 4,000 and 5,000 employees total. So I mean, it's not a massive number. Let's be honest. It's like what 600-700, I guess, at 14% of the top end estimate on that. If it's 5,000 total, so I mean. It's not a huge number percentage-wise. Definitely, you never want to see 500, 600 people lose their jobs, but it's sign of the time.
And it's definitely not conducive to a strong consumer. And we just saw there Shopify speaking about the consumer and perhaps some weakness coming up there. You and I have been talking also about rising debt levels, delinquency rates going up, whether you're looking at credit cards or you're looking at cars. Each area, though, to be fair, geography plays a big role here. So not all created equal. I was looking at some of those numbers. So
yeah, I mean, it's not been a great year overall for crypto markets. I mean, Coinbase still negative on the year, but back above some key levels here, guys, to start the day today.
Yeah, well, the big one was yesterday was Circle. So, if you're looking at the space, that was an absolute rocket, up another 5% here, and in the midst of a big run. Just want to at least acknowledge it. And the one that's trying to go here, it's about 216-ish on Coinbase. It needs to break. You're a good 3% away from that. So if you get out and about, maybe it's actually 15. No, it's 16. That's right. It is 216. So you have a local high going back to, the 17th here on Coin. Looked like it was a better shot to challenge it before. And with the market popping up, it kind of is holding back a little bit. So it's not really, I don't know if it's going to be front of the mind, given that we just had that push and Coinbase didn't really go with it. But yeah, 216, that'll be a level one way or another, whether it's today, tomorrow, I don't know, next week. You can't ignore it. That's multiple times. You can at least count 4 days where it's tested 15, 16, and failed this year. So that's a pretty clean breakout level for Coin to watch. Circle's been much better as a trade. But yeah, Coin, it's a good setup for a breakout, just not as likely that it's going to break because, as I said, we just had a pop up in the market, and for some reason this didn't go with it, making it a little bit less likely. But hey, cutting costs, good. Doing it while you already have existing momentum can only help to press through. So when we get the break, we like it.
There's some news today, bullish $4.2 billion acquisition today as well. So there's going to be some, here I'm just going to get the exact story here. For its sale of, Shreve mentioned this already, Equinity. So there we go, man. An IPO that was not overly well received. Of course, bullish, and maybe just like we saw Circle come right back into some levels and then bounce off of here. You're nowhere near retaking what they came out with their IPO, but this little level of $70. Now we're not there yet, obviously, but that's a good spot there. We'll look to see if bullish can come up and take out this $44 area right now. Obviously, not moving upside too much with crypto, but it's now been 3 or 4 straight up days here. So, if this acquisition means anything, $4.2 billion funded through $1.85 billion debt, $2.35 billion in stock right there. So we're going to wait to see if they can figure out how to get a little bit more customers up on their platform. That's bullish with more news there as well. And this was that sort of, Neil mentioned that Circle trade as, the Clarity Act. There's a little bit more optimism around that. We've seen, that sort of create movements and opportunities for traders of Circle. And wow, that name you're going to see as well. I think this has been around a little bit longer. Okay, no, there it is. Perfect. Yeah, so it comes right back into those levels again and starts taking off just one more time through this $130 mark right there for Circle, up 5%. This might be a better trade today than Coinbase, period. You know, this is starting to move up. You don't have, stock-specific news. You just got the overall upturn of crypto. So, yeah, VWAP down here at 124. Really like the situation here for Circle today. That should be a good one. So let's see what winds up happening with 124 level here on Circle. So today it gets the square. I think it's going to be a good one there. Even potentially breaking through 130 today is also Circle going upside. Yeah, market just hanging out there. Someone just said, what's going on with NVIDIA? Is something going on with NVIDIA? Yeah, a little bit of a tick higher. I mean, good momentum yesterday to the downside early. We saw that many of these names get cracked. We saw Intel go down into the $95 area. Now Intel's trying to push $100 again. Chip names starting to go. A big day, man. AMD tonight. So AMD probably holds fort pretty well. I think that this is going to be a good report coming through for advanced micro devices. I mean, demand still remains very, very strong in the chip space. We saw that with SNDK and their forward guide as well. Wow, $1,300 today for SNDK. Like, I always keep going back to it. Like, it was just a week ago, this thing was $1,000. And it was just a year ago, this thing was $40. So absolutely unbelievable, some of the runs there. And I think that's hurting a little bit of, potentially keeping, Apple's been doing well, but I mean, the cost of these inputs to create these phones, ARM and everything starting to go and get much more expensive right now. So we'll throw it back over to Neil.
Well, actually, I think we're going to get some upgrades and downgrades. I'm curious to see what some of these analysts think about the quarters that we've been getting. Lots of earnings to get through, and we'll do some more at the big screen with Joe.
All right, guys, welcome back. Let's take a look at some of the analyst actions here this morning. We're going to kick things off with some downgrades. At the top of the list, we have Amgen getting the downgrade here by Erste Group. Going from a buy to a hold rating, we're down about 0.3% here. And then we also have Roblox getting the downgrade here, guys, down 0.6%, going from an overweight to neutral weight with a $50 price target by Piper Sandler. Moving forward, let's take a look at Fabrinet, down substantially here this morning, going from an outperform to an equal weight by Fox Advisors. You're down 12% here, a little bit more than that on today's session. Now, Verizon Wireless also getting the downgrade here, guys. You're down 0.5% here, going from a buy to a hold. Now, moving forward, let's take a look at some of the analyst actions on the upgrade side of things. All right, On Semiconductor getting the nod with a neutral weight target here, but increasing the price from $70 to $100. You're still down for over 4%. Duolingo also getting a price target increase here. You're down 3.7%, but JP Morgan increasing that from $92 to $94. Now, Palantir also getting the nod with that buy rating, guys, going from $200 to $225 by Rosenblatt. You're down 2.8%, maybe a little bit less now, considering it started to recover. Now, Chipotle, the one sitting here in positive, going from a hold to a buy, you're up 1.25%. Let's send it back to Neil and Sean.
Yeah, the one that would be, well, maybe a bit of a surprise there, Duolingo, which I know it's down 5% or 4.5%, but that's a pretty solid bounce for Duolingo. Like your Palantir, no surprise there. ON, no surprise. Both strong quarters. The company's doing really well. Roblox, yuck. That's been a little bit rough. But Duolingo, you do wonder, if it doesn't break the low, there's only one place to go. And, if it can't lose 85, like it's so well above this prior low. It's 20%. Even with the pullback, it's still well above its low on the year. Maybe you can hold this 50-period moving average. I think this would be more of a dead cat bounce, though, than anything else. I don't know about I just don't know about their model. And even my daughter doesn't use the language stuff like she used to. She's all into like the music and
and there's the chess is over there, yeah.
Yeah, like it's more about that stuff, and you start thinking about like what do you think? Like,
it's just about what can they charge for.
I just can't picture them being able to charge people for what they're offering in 5 years. I'm not really seeing that for Duo. Like maybe there's a there that I'm missing, but Yeah, I think, look, it obviously has some kind of a chance to maybe do a bit of a relief rally at some point. And certainly when you have a reversal a reversal like this, it's a good start, right? Like you're down 10%, you catch a bit of a bid after earnings, maybe a little bit of bad news gets taken pretty well. I'm just hearing Marvell popping, so I'm going to throw over. I don't know if I heard news on this, but it's moving. So it just broke HOD, 2.5%. Oh, shoot. Oh, no, he just said the name again.
Yeah, he just says up.
Okay,
up.
you know what?
I don't know, it's just moving.
Sometimes we'll just hear it in our ear because the stock is moving. And then
not on much volume.
My thought is, I'll flip to it because maybe there's some news there. But yeah, it could just be market is strong, chips are strong, Marvell is strong.
This is called the Katina Family Vacation Stock. Yeah, Marvell just keeps on going higher right here into 170. Again, my headphone just keeps on disconnecting every time, so I got to figure that out. 168 and change upside right now for MRVL. So yeah, who knows? Not much volume there, but starting to go just a little bit. And like I said, I think it's all going to be based on. We'll see. Maybe there is a story. Who knows? But right now, Marvell, AMD. It's a lot of this kind of stuff going on. Right, I'm going to delete this bullish just to see if there's anything going on. We do have the Benzinga Pro update here as well. So we got Adara, we got Brendan Sharif. We're all just kind of scanning for news. If anything starts to come through, we'll talk about that. I'm thinking that Tesla could be a trade today as well, especially if this market wants to tick up just a little bit more. 396. I mean, we're right near that $400 mark, a big psychological level here. We will talk a little bit about Tesla coming through, hoping to get some more approvals for FSD and whatnot over there in Europe. But that's right where the 200 period moving average is, 403. Hit pretty good there, down into earnings. Nice little pop on a little bit of CapEx spend. And now we'll see if Tesla can hold forward here through the 50 period and now trying to get back upside into that 200. We've seen Randy wasn't here today. Oh, he wasn't here yesterday, but is here today. Yeah, man. How low can we go here? We like the stock at 18. That must mean we must like it at 1450. So here's Rivian. Not too many names that have reported that are now a couple days off their report where you're going to be seeing a nice area of support. So we'll see if we can get report and support. So they've reported and now they got to support it. And we'll see if we can get that here at 1450. Looks like Rivian might be a prime candidate for a nice little buy and potentially a swing trade because, you can now use, and who knows, we want to see what happens today maybe, but you can use this low. This is day 3 maybe or 4 of Rivian earnings. So you could just give it a second and see if we do wind up holding this 14.25 area. If you do that, man, back up to 16 is very likely. That's $1.75. Give yourself about, 30, 40 cents to the downside. You could possibly have $2 upside there. So I think Rivian is maybe worth a shot here. We've seen Ford and GM both actually went down off of their report. Ford did get into 13. Yeah, I was going to say 14, but $13 there, and now right back down in as well. And here goes GM downside off their report. Maybe it's battled back, but let's have a quick little look here on GM. Yeah, so there it is, right? $80 down into 76. So, it's not a great business. I don't feel like some of these car businesses. And then we look over here at Uber. I just don't know. Is there not enough excitement right now about anything? Like Uber's going to report on Thursday. And as I said, it's been doing nothing for months. This goes all the way back to February, just sitting in this zone. So Uber's getting ready to do something, I feel like, at some point. Not necessarily coiling up. We'd like to see a little bit of a volume spike here, but we'll have to watch this name. Another interesting name coming in what is Super Bowl week number 2. Starting off with Palantir yesterday, and we'll see what winds up happening later on this as this day opens up, because it's 8:48. The imbalances only have New York names on them right now, and they're pretty tight right here. I was looking at them earlier. There's nothing going on, like no names in here that we really look at. Circle, we already saw that one up 5% today, so that's starting to go on a bid. But other than that, a lot of buys, not too many sells. But Palantir, nice little run up there into 145. We'll see if that winds up holding. That's your 200 period moving average. So on earnings, we like to say if there's a gap play to VWAP, we've already held that pretty nicely right there. We'll see if 143 can hold out there for PLTR. So, all right, we'll go back over the desk, and lots of stuff popping through today. We'll see if the NASDAQ can hold bids, man. I said we're looking risk on. I got only long ideas today, one of them being Palantir, Shopify, Intel, the NASDAQ, and then iBit. So kind of all over the place, but definitely a chip focus, I feel like, with AMD coming tonight at 4:15.
Back at highs here for DOCN, Digital Ocean. Really good report here this morning as well. Another one that's absolutely ripping up, better part of, what, $20 almost? at the highs for this one, but better than expected results for Q1. Full year 2026 guidance above estimates. Also, the company issued Q2 sales guidance above estimates. So it's definitely not all bad to start things off here this morning. Have you seen the daily chart, by the way, on this thing?
I don't even know this company, Brendo. It's kind of full disclosure.
I mean, 2 days in a row, this thing is definitely broken out through the highs. But I mean, $52 to, I mean, 120 almost in a month, 2 months, 6 weeks, we'll call it, for DOCN. There's absolutely screaming here. Another one with good earnings.
And the perfect niche. Basically agentic inference. I mean, is that not what we're always constantly talking about? The shift from training into inference and using agents rather than, these query questions for the LLMs. Yeah, this is really good. More than 10% here in the pre-market. They announced that they're raising their full year guidance. They reported better than expected first quarter results. They're expecting sales for the next quarter to come in at 1.13 to 1.45 billion. That's up from the prior guide, which was 1.08 to 1.11, and also above what the street was looking for, which was basically 1.11, so the higher end of their estimates. So EPS, we're looking at $1.10 to $1.20, but that is also well ahead of the analyst expectations of $1.03. Looking at the second quarter, the company expects adjusted earnings to be about 20 to 23 cents per share. That is a little bit lower, though, than the 24 expected by analysts, but you can just tell by the share price right now, the price action, market not really stressing about that too much.
We've had many conversations about some of the post-COVID stocks that made a huge run in 2020, 2021, 2022, gave it all back, most of which, let's call it, I don't know, I'm just throwing a dart at a dartboard here, but 90+%, I'll say. We'll probably never see those highs that we saw back in COVID times. I mean, this one's actually not far off if you zoom out on this thing. I mean, it got to, 130, 135 going back to 2021, summer of 2021. I mean, here we are back to 115, 120 area right now.
That's like the mother of all rounded bottoms.
Crazy.
Right there. It looks fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't really complain about this. And can I say something else? I mean, we always try to make these comparisons between the AI trade and the .com bubble. But the fact of the matter is, there was all sorts of fiber optics at that time, the late 90s, early 2000s, that was not utilized and wouldn't be utilized for a decade. That is ipso facto not the case with these data centers, these neoclouds. They are packed 2-3 years down the road. They're charging 125% of what they were typically charging for the use of some of these GPUs. So I more and more, I'm starting to see these two comparisons be less and less similar.
Yeah, definitely. Good. Well said. 135 to $20 at the low. Here we are back towards 115, 120, guys, for DigitalOcean.
Yeah, you have it's a phenomenon that's going on for a lot of this stuff, and it's it's basically reevaluating and repricing some of these names because you have such explosive growth, and we're in a monumental shift, and they're a big winner. And what's crazy about it is this actually has the ridiculous, like the U-shape potential breakaway pattern that you'd see on some IPOs, where you make an initial high early on or relatively early in stages, it ends up making a fresh low. You get the breakout. Now, why I think it's a bit different is because of how extreme the 2021 was. But if you just simply try to chase that gap, that would give you another 20% to go here. So the trend has been your friend on this. This is a day trade. I mean, it's done. Well, I haven't even crossed 1 million shares pre-market yet, but probably a little bit thinly traded. Right now, a volume low, spread 50 pennies, which is not too bad. But this might deserve to be on the radar. It's got room. It definitely has a little bit of room to go. And then you get this potential U-top break. We're at 29s, right? So 129.50, and that's legitimately 33. So that would be just an unbelievable break price. I just don't know that you can trust that kind of a break on a day one. I think maybe look for a VWAP pullback. That's a heck of a trap to get set up 20%. But we've seen that chart in the past have continuation where you get that U shape. It looks like that kind of an earnings play. But Daunting, for a day trade, probably a bit of a pass unless you see something really interesting off of volume weighted average price. There's a lot of names to be able to look at here that are making similar types of all-time high runs. Intel's an example of that, or one that's going to do one tonight, which would be AMD, or one that's going to do one maybe in a couple of days, which would be, which would be ARM. You got Marvell breaking all-time highs. So you have ones that are going to be a little bit more liquid without having to go over to Daunting.
Yeah, we have right here, we talked about finishing their call. PayPal was actually doing quite well this morning. I got an alert on my phone that PayPal was up here this morning, and then now it is well down. We just hit SSR right now for PayPal. Comes right back into those levels that were pretty good for a bid. So we'll see if we can catch a bid right now on PayPal at some point. I'd say let it test this basically 43.50. Like, I know that means we got to go down another buck and change, but into that level, we'll see if PayPal might be giving us a great trade opportunity here if there is a bounce on PYPL. Just wanted to double check what the imbalance, there's no imbalance yet, what the short float was on PayPal. So just 5%, but still, it's actually not that bad for such a big company there, PayPal. There's the move down right here on this chart, but yeah, looking like it wants to potentially find a bid. I don't know if it doesn't look like it wants to find a bid, but I think it should, down there in and around $44. And look, it's trying to do something, PYPL. So, we just mentioned it. We went back with Brendan there. The call had just ended, and they dropped the mic and run out the door and shut it behind them. So no questions here for PayPal anymore. We'll see if it wants to hold. When there's that gap, we could play that back into view up, and right now it kind of makes sense. So if we could short in and around 48, I think that might be a good trade, and I really do like the long. I mean, we might have just saw the long at 45 flat. So PayPal giving us some trade ideas here early, as we didn't think that would be happening off of their initial move higher. And then, yeah, I guess slowing growth in Europe is the story here for PayPal. So we'll see if that wants to wind up holding this 44 spot here for PYPL. Yeah, I just looked at the eggs a little bit too. It's not that they're undercooked. I don't know if they use too much milk or what they use. They're a little too runny on those eggs there. So it's spring rolls for everybody today, that's for sure.
Fresh fruit.
Yeah, fruit. We got the bananas. There's fruit. There's pastries. I mean, there's still everything there. It's ridiculous how spoiled the breakfast can be around here. But all right, PayPal, $45. I mean, another good look there. And then Palantir going the other way. So we get PayPal, which initially started to go higher. Both these names actually were higher off their initial reports there. We'll talk about Palantir in a minute. It's going to be on the rundown, but I just want to give you guys an idea that we just broke through right now that 200 period moving average. So now we look for some support here in PLTR. Wow, PayPal, Palantir. How many times have I messed those up there today? Probably just a few. So, all right, it's 8:57 already. I mean, we can start getting ready to rock and roll. We'll talk about the futures with Sharif. We'll get that rundown going. You can check out Sharif's morning note. We also have everything in link in description for our watch lists that come out free. Thanks to Adara putting that together, and it's been a great one. That's what I look at every single day. We use Sharif's note for the rundowns and for specific levels and key information, but the morning watch list is a very brief description of everything you need to know about what's moving. And there's also some lower stocks that are high floats, low float, runners are always on there. So I don't know, was that one on there today? ABCL? Yeah, so ABCL on there today.
Well, that's CLRB, I think, was the one on.
CLRB, okay. There's always tons of them. Palantir just took 145, so there we go.
Well, the hilarious thing about Palantir, I'm looking at it. I have my Palantir chart on my black chart, like right with USO, like they're back and forth, and they were almost at the same price for a full couple of minutes, almost exactly. No, but ACBL is a mover. The one on the watch list was CLRB. Oh, sorry, CLRB, not CLBR. It's always annoying. Like there's so many tickers that like you'll make like a, usually you make a mistake like that, a transposition, and like the stock doesn't exist. In the case it did. No, but CLRB, that's one underneath the volume weighted average price. The reason why I was looking at that other is like you still hold a little bit of the VWAP there. But you know what? Short these things can be a trade too. Like there's always something for everybody. Like there's, Luis comes on and we'll probably have him, I believe, tomorrow. Usually we'll have him on a Wednesday. And he'll talk about how you make that pre-market high, you do those shorts, and then that can be a strategy for you. But small cappers, there's always a plenty, but there's a lot to get to when it comes to earnings season. We're going to drop into our watch list and the rundown right about now and get to every single name we can. Remember, when you're in the chat, don't forget to go $ on all those symbols. If you're saying, let's just say you posted Intel at 100, put in $INTC, and then you'll get that one. You probably don't have to worry about it until it'll make the it'll make the visualizer, but it doesn't hurt if you use a $sign in the chat in front voice.
All right, guys, 718 or thereabouts is where we closed out yesterday on the SPY. As you can see right now, we're well above 720, 721 and a quarter. But look how cleanly we held that 715 on that 4-hour candle yesterday. As you'll recall, we've been speaking a lot about 715 as a key area of technical support. Previously, resistance came into play yesterday, held, and here we are dancing above 720 again. So we're going to say 725, Brendo. That's where we rejected on Friday. We just glanced at 725. If we start selling off, we're looking at 720 as our first level of support. If we fail that, we're looking at yesterday's closing print, 718 as support number 2.
All right, if you haven't done so yet, down below in the description, link to the watch list. Grab that. It's free every single day. Comes right to your inbox with everything you need to know on it before you come join us then at 8 o'clock. We're working our way back higher here. I just saw this and was kind of surprised by it. HSBC downgraded Palantir today. Okay.
Must be valuation.
To hold, yeah, something along those lines. Downgrading to hold lowers their price target to 151 on the back of just an absolute monstrous earnings report. We are trying to retake some key levels here right now for PLTR. I mean, we touched on some of these gains, let's call them.
Ridiculous.
Quarter over quarter, year over year, just absolutely huge.
This is a ridiculous achievement here, Brendo. Look at this, 85% revenue growth and 60% adjusted operating margin. That is basically unheard of in the software space. And a typical, just to give you an idea of what to expect, you know, your typical elite SaaS companies, they're aimed for about 40 to 50%. This is well above that. So fantastic report here by Palantir. Really can't stress that enough. And as I spoke to you guys about yesterday, the sticky income as a result of the Maven budget lock-in by the Pentagon, it went from basically being a frontier sort of software model into being now, what are they calling it? A program of record. So good look there. And we know how sticky government revenue can be, a lot less transient than commercial. Speaking of commercial, transient or not, it's up 133% year over year. That is the top line number for the commercial revenue. Good look there, because we've been always criticizing, at least in the past, that Palantir was too focused on government revenue. Last but not least, last point I want to make here is the non-human agentic revenue. So buried in the customer metrics was a spike actually in automated API-driven deployments. Palantir's actually being used now by agents, not just humans. A lot of agentic software by large banks and logistic firms, all tapping into AIP. Good luck for Palantir.
Back to key levels, as I mentioned, but going to need a little bit more of a bounce here, guys. But we've already retaken 50% or more of that move down initially on the earnings.
Where will Palantir end up by the close today? Or maybe you think you know where Bitcoin closes the end of the week. Who wins in 2028? Where's GDP gonna land? Stop arguing about it and start trading it. Gemini predictions, yes or no markets on crypto, commodities, politics, sports, and more. Now featuring 15-minute and 5-minute crypto markets so you can trade the action in real time. Set your amount, see your odds, and get paid when you're right. Open an account at Gemini.com or scan the QR code for more information. Speaking of crypto, Bitcoin just made a new fresh high, so you check that out right there. Or you know, we could always gamble. Just go long on Randy delivering, being kind enough to bring us the cup of joe.
Yeah,
you got it?
Yeah, good.
Well, cheers, everybody.
I just got another coffee. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I'm always glad to take one because this one's already starting to get a little bit empty. It's getting a little chilly in here, even though it's going to be ridiculously nice today. It's a great day for Palantir. Well, you know what? Okay, fine. It's down 1%. But if you looked at what happened overnight, the bounce feels like it's already happening. It won't be the breakout trade on the daily that I'm looking for, but you're going to put up 85% rev growth, like the best since it came to market. Obviously, it was a company before that, but the best since it came to market and started giving us those reports. Forget about some of these heavy dip levels, like prior support and resistance that I was looking at way earlier when we sat down. It broke out at 142. That gives you a nice support level in here a couple of days ago. So I think looking there first off the open makes a ton of sense, and then worry about some of the like this close here at a 140 and then the 135.5. I feel like if we get to those today, it would require like a ridiculous amount of patience. It's going to start with the 142 and go from there. I was looking for the dip and rip today, and it just kind of ripped to start filling in the gap. There's just a little slight adjustment in where we look for the longs here on PLTR. Great quarter, and when you think about it, the fact that it maybe sold some off, maybe had some people get out before this does the potential break can be good. Like a little bit of pressure got relieved before it does this from all-time highs in October, clean trend line break. And once we get above 150, I think it's gone.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, the thing about Palantir was, we were looking for that extension of the commercial side, and it looks like that does happen, almost outpacing the government contract, so that's nice. We had that list of all the different government agencies involved with Palantir. I still think it's a great opportunity. Look, this was $105 a year ago today, right? And so you're still up 35+%, 40% on the year. So, the rolling 52 weeks was $105 a year ago today, and it has had a nice move higher. But the problem is right now, and I have said this, Darwin mentioned it in the pre-show here, that in the chat that this is going to be a tough name, and I've sort of kind of warned about this. I think competition's coming, man, for Palantir. I know that there's a lot of talk, they're now intertwined and everything like that. It's just, what if that next government contract goes to Anthropic? Then all of a sudden, people will start to panic and say, what is next for Palantir? So do you really want to wait to see it break this 128? I mean, it could potentially get back up to the upside, but I think it's a relatively big nothing burger considering where they beat everywhere, and they did guide a little bit lower than expectations on their forward year. So, yeah, I'm not absolutely in love with this name as a long-term hold. So let's just wait to see what winds up happening here with that 128 level. I think you got to definitely get something out if we wind up coming back in through there. And don't think that that's not, I mean, it's very, very possible that does wind up happening. It's too bad that we're not above the 200 period moving average. A lot of buyers won't come in until that happens. So, we're waiting for better news, but if earnings like that, and it was a great report, doesn't get it through those levels, then I'm just not sure what will, and hopefully it's just more contracts, and you log in and you say, okay, they signed another one, but you're looking at 7.6 billion is what they're looking for this year in revenue. So that's a big number, and I just think that whenever that's happening and you have such high margins, people come for you. And yeah, Palantir, just a little nervous about it. So trying to get a little lighter on that position myself, as we've talked about it over and over again. There's just a few better spots that I just feel better about than PLTR. But, down now 1% is not bad. The implied move was 11 or 12% or something on Palantir. So we're pretty happy with that move right now. Hopefully we can hold bid. 43 is VWAP. So we've held it down here. It graduated up with it. So now we'll wait to see if 143 can hold on Palantir. But I'm not as positive as I was, obviously, in the last few years about the growth potential here for Palantir.
Coinbase here, a nice run up with crypto markets over the past few days, back to recent highs anyways for coin this morning, above 214. On that note, yeah, about 700 people losing their jobs, 14% of the workforce being cut. They're targeting 50 million to 60 million in severance and termination costs for 2026. As we said earlier, timing is interesting here. I mean, with the positivity coming back into this space, maybe some higher trading volumes, at least for Coinbase, with the uptick in Bitcoin. Why not take the opportunity?
Yeah, and shore up margins. It's hard to celebrate this kind of stuff because somebody's on the other end of this and they're scrambling for a job. So, but it's our job to cover this. So let's look at the details of these layoffs. So there's 5 points I want to make. There's a one-person team mandate now issued by Brian Armstrong. He's moving Coinbase to a flat organizational structure where the individual employees are expected to act as a unified engineer, a designer, a product manager, all simultaneously, obviously with the assistance of AI. Also, the 5-layer ceiling. What does that mean? There's a new hard limit on hierarchy. Coinbase is kind of mandating that there be no more than 5 management layers between the CEO and any individual junior employee, 5 layers. There's also the kind of what they're calling the player coach enforcement. What does this mean? So every leader remaining at the company is actually now required to be an individual contributor. This means VPs, directors, they all got to write code, believe it or not, and design products daily. So really hands-on for the executive. And then they're also dissolving the traditional departments in favor of what they're calling cross-functional pods. They're designed to kind of operate autonomously as startups, kind of like startup mode, or what do they call founder mode within the company. And last but not least, he revealed, Brian Armstrong, that the non-technical teams now shipping production-grade code using Gen AI. And this is kind of really the hidden reason behind the layoffs. If you're able to kind of remove some of the engineering layers, which take up a lot of the labor income, Brendo, this is really interesting here. Vibe coding.
If they can reduce, I mean, we were talking about it before, but if they can reduce, like he was saying, some of the products that used to take 3-4 weeks to ship are shipping in 2-3 days, like that's an enormous reduction in production time. This just popped up in front of me. It's absolutely mind-boggling. How quickly can a business generate $1 million in profit? You and I were just talking about Google and NVIDIA, the market cap race. Yep. Google, $200 billion roughly, in shouting distance of NVIDIA to take over #1 on that list. 3 minutes and 59 seconds.
Infuriating.
$1 million in profit. 3 minutes and 59 seconds for Alphabet. That's crazy.
Yeah, I'm looking at that list and I'm asking myself, how many of those companies could I run a mile faster than they can make $1 million in profit? I think I got at least one. I don't know how many on this I could take. One of them was like 6.5. So I'm like, I could take that. I could take it. It might have been Amazon. I got you, Amazon. Yeah, make your $1 million, but I can run a mile, son.
Yeah, Amazon.
359.
By the time we get through this segment, they've probably made a couple $1 million.
Exactly. That's impressive. But look, it's all the companies that you would expect to have. There was a small. I didn't actually hear anything, but there was a small move down there on USO. Caught the market a bit of a bid there. Nothing crazy. 145 to actually went about $1.50, so 1% down on USO just there. Coinbase didn't budge much, and I don't know, maybe that 216 it doesn't look as likely to happen. You're holding right around VWAP. It's still big resistance on the daily. Like, it needs to take out this 216, and then I think you can really go. But what did go to the upside just now, because I guess it's the opportunity to talk about crypto, is we're still in an upward trend in iBit. So there hasn't been much that's changed here. Like, we made the break. You're above it. You held 80,000 now, so 80K is held. It was a good trend reversal yesterday, like dipped in, didn't really get all the way down into support, but then did a very good trend break. On any move down, I'm just looking for the trend break long. If you show me a pullback, I'm just gonna look for some kind of a clean trend break. And on the 3 minute is where I wanna see it. And obviously, like it was just slight down, and then you got this big reversal right in here, right around 10, actually it was like 10.10, so it was after the opening range got set in. So it might take some patience. Maybe we glide down slowly into VWAP and it takes 15, 20 minutes before catching a good bid and going. Bitcoin has a tendency not to be moving as crazy in the first 30 minutes, and then we get a better move after the fact. So patience can be a bit of a virtue here, but I think it can be worth it to catch more of this upward trend. As far as resistance goes, I think there's some at like 88,000 that's big, 84 a little bit. So you have more room to run here still.
Yeah, I was also looking here. We're talking about Coinbase and crypto, but I have iBit written down. I mean, the same kind of ways that we had written down yesterday on the sticky note. I have 45.50, so right here. I'm just starting to set up some. I got some alerts set up over here for what I'm looking at down here right now. But there's iBit 45.50. So we're holding the 80K, but now you're gone. So we wrote that a while ago, and we got to make sure that we do hit levels that we like. So right now, maybe 45.80 down there at your 200 period moving average for iBit. So we'll give it a breath. See if it does want to pull back here. I mean, if this market comes back in, I could definitely see some sort of a nice play there with Clarity Act starting to get a little more positive reactions. We've seen Circle Circle have some nice moves to the high side here in the last couple of days as well. Bouncing clearly off that $90 level, which has been pretty great. We take that 50-period moving average. Now I think this looks like a good long if you do fall back into this 110 area for Circle. Again, USDC, some of those stable coins look like they're going to get the nod to go ahead with being able to stake and whatnot. And I think that that's a good move here for Circle. Pretty stable profitability coming out there. I think these coins will be able to be used in our digital economy. So stable coins are a big part of what happens with crypto. So I like Circle here, and I think it's going to be a good stock to watch today, especially with this little bit of a dramatic move right there from 126 back into 122 right now at the 200 period. This should actually catch our attention right off the open with Circle today. So if you're looking at these spaces, I think you're in a good spot here, coming back into this 122.50, 200 period moving average. Let's take a look at Circle. I mean, if we take down this 123.50, then that's probably upside again up to day's high. So I think you have like a $3 maybe at least $2.50, $2 there to the upside, and I don't think you have that much downside. But let's just see how far we continue to go here as we wait for the imbalances. Circle's a New York name, so we could double check. We did see it earlier, but it was a buy, so it still is that bid here on Circle. Even though it's coming back in here a little bit. So crypto is still going higher, Circle coming in. This is a very interesting play for me. 123.50 break on Circle, I think, takes us back up to 126. So a good possibility here for Circle. All right, let's go back over to the desk and get that next stock going. PayPal. Yeah, that was an interesting turn of events there on PYPL. Let's go figure it out.
Yeah, they didn't like the call at all. Here's a couple of reasons why. Management on the call is saying Q2 will be worse than Q1. They also warned for the remainder of the year on specific areas. One was their branded checkout growth. The other, the simple operational side, still calling it quote unquote long and execution heavy going forward. So there was 3 points at least from the call that didn't come across well, getting crushed.
Yeah, it's not looking good. It looks we could be SSR on this one today. A few points I want to make, guys. Total payment volume, that was a positive thing here for them, but when you dig a little deeper, most, if not all of that increase in TPV, total payment volume, came from this Braintree brand that they have, and it's a very low margin product, so a bit of an offset there. And then they actually mentioned X Money. That's Elon Musk's sort of Venmo style. It's going to be within that greater X platform. This is on the earnings call. Management for the first time cited X Money as a potential direct competitor and a threat to Venmo's peer-to-peer dominance. We'll have to wait and see how that all works out. And then basically they confirmed that they're nearing the close of its Symbio acquisition to fuel agentic commerce. However, the report revealed that there was going to be a lot of R&D and integration costs there that were unreported before, so that could eat into margins. Last but not least, there's a bit of a guidance double talk here. They did raise their full-year EPS, but it was almost entirely driven by the share buybacks, $5 billion authorization there, rather than the organic business growth. So something to be concerned about there.
Higher time frame, this thing still looks terrible. If you go to a weekly chart, we're back to basically near the lows once again. 40 was the low, but trouble here, guys, for PayPal.
Yeah, I was feeling a little bit like it just wasn't running enough after this little break of the 50 period here on PayPal. Like right in here about the 47 break. That's why on the way back in, it needed to hold this level, and the buyers just haven't really emerged. Now, we get it. It's day one. Like you could, maybe this ends up being, we're 24 hours from now, this is some kind of bottoming tail candle, and it closes back above the 47 level, and then reevaluate. But as far as I'm concerned, the concern was there wasn't enough momentum to really make that breakout go when you're looking for a bottom pick on a bad chart. It didn't go now. So I'm not a fan until we see some levels hold maybe today, tomorrow, and then today's only Tuesday, so it's somewhere at the end of the week after this has settled down a bit. Maybe there's a second leg for it. For the day trade, anytime you're a big name and you're down 10%, there's the old SSR bounce play. We usually like that if a stock gets short sell restricted in and around a support level, which is pretty close, and that's $43.50. So you tick down around 44, and there's always that sort of drop and pop style trade. We look for a bottoming tail, big volume event at that low, and then a little bit of a release as the stock goes into the uptick rule being in effect. But that's not the case yet. I mean, it could easily open up at 9% and have to get there at the open. But in terms of looking for a place to jump back in, on like a swing or something. Wait until these earnings come down. It lost too much support.
Yeah, for Shopify, I was just looking at, PayPal, consumer-based, obviously, so is Shopify. So, Shopify have actually had a pretty good, if I hover over this, oh, look at that. It shows, I think this is new now for, iBit, Intel. Oh, that's cool. Wow, it even links to the current price, or the last price. Closing price. Okay, so Shopify right there, 120. Look, reports seem fine. Well, let's see if we hold these lows right now. That's what we wrote down about an hour plus ago. So we're going to wait to see if Shopify winds up holding some of this bid. I was looking at 120. Obviously, we haven't held that, so we got to break back above. Now I'm actually wondering about this 122 area, if we could take that out on a nice upside move. But, maybe it's the same kind of story here. If the consumer's not overly strong, are we even opening up new websites and opening up new businesses? Shopify and PayPal, obviously, a little bit of competing product. They do have Shop Pay and all that kind of stuff as well, so very similar to that of PayPal. But as consumer wants to get a little bit nervous here, Shopify also to the downside today. So PayPal, Shopify, both good names. I like PayPal a little bit better for a swing trade. Shopify, I think, needs to come back into this 110 area just to see. We almost got there. We got to 113. So I think it's the same sort of thing that we looked at before. If you can pick something up in and around this area and use these as your lows, I think the risk to reward is here for many of these names. I think Shopify, I see a lot of advertising with Shopify. They did have a great 2025 right there, not so well here in 26. So, and again, we always look at things like, where they've come from. But, if you go back to a year ago right now, this is $90 for Shopify. It does double up to 185. And now it's just pulling back a little bit, trying to get into some levels. And good companies at good levels should be bought. And I think Shopify, again, obviously a little bias here with Canada, but we like Shopify down into this 110 area. I think there could be worse purchases. So maybe take advantage of a downswing here in Shop if you like the e-commerce business. Maybe a little bit of mix of both. PayPal and Shopify today, both to the downside. So some interesting levels there that we're looking at here on the day. Micron, will anything stop these names? And SanDisk, again, $1,300. Micron continues to go higher. These names were like single or double digits a year ago today. And now you're thinking about, SanDisk has 4 digits on it, and maybe Micron's making its way up there again. I have no idea. I thought this party was stopped at like $250, $300, and now I just look over here, Micron 600. Yeah, I feel like, is that a question mark behind it? But that's where we're going right now. So
that's where we are.
Yeah, I know. It's up another 5% today. It's absolutely ridiculous. Let's go find the story with Micron.
Well above 600 at this point so far this morning. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks in a row. This thing hasn't had a red week since April, the beginning of April at that. So, it's just, I don't even know what else to say at this point. The CEO comes out, says memory boom is just getting started. So, sure, why not? All-time highs again today.
Man, they're sold out all of 26 and almost 27 for certain models. So the ones that matter, the ones for data centers, HBM3E, HBM4 supply, officially sold out 2026 and most of 2027. Unlike previous cycles, customers were buying month to month. Now you can kind of gauge what they're doing. They're buying year by year. Also, the NVIDIA Rubin design win. A lot of people want to focus on Blackwell, rightfully so. What's really not talked about is that they're already shipping the HBM4 samples designed specifically for NVIDIA's Vera Rubin platform, the next gen. Good look there. And 81% gross margins, guys. They're a historical average, 30%. And that's all as a result of pricing power because of rising demand. Fantastic look there. And when it comes to energy efficiency, we've been talking a lot about this, right? A lot of these data centers are getting canceled because they're taking too much energy. Micron alive to that, and they're designing their next-gen HBM3E to consume 30% less power than some of their competitors. So very alive to the fact that power is a major bottleneck.
As you mentioned earlier this morning, we don't hear from them on the earnings side of things until June. I'm sure that'll be great by then as well, but 108% on the year so far, just crazy for Micron.
They are home runs. I just noticed even that one too has something, unless I'm just wearing that color batting gloves. That's a little, we can do better. It's fine. No, but these are just hold it, man. The trend is your friend. As you said, you haven't even had any sign of weakness on these. The only thing that would give me pause when I look at this, and that's just for today, I can't remember the last time you saw 3 in a row, these types of insane breakouts off of the open. This is very relatively clean, like 514 breaks, and then it gets to a high of 45. So it's about $30 breakout on Friday. And then yesterday, 560 to about 590, $30 breakout yesterday. That's 2 in a row. I don't think you usually see that 3 days in a row. So I'd be a little bit cautious with the fail break on that one. But what has already been trying to chew through in the chip land, if you continuously try to break out a level and continuously put in higher lows, the first couple of times you look for the fade. And then after that, you look for the actual break to happen because it keeps on holding. Like it held, we never retraced back into this 92 level on Intel. And I mean, today, I think the support to resistance plays all the way at 97. You're a lot closer to actually holding a break over $100 than you are to seeing a dip into 97. But I'd be cautious with that Micron because $2 $30, those are like 5% type moves off of the open 2 days in a row, and you're already gapped up 5. I'd be a little bit cautious with that, thinking it'll do exactly the same thing 3 days in a row, and wouldn't want that break. But Intel, 925 just hit. Maybe a buy imbalance just came out because it just spiked through. I didn't have my imbalances up, but iBit's a sell, 900,000. Okay, that's not what I was expecting. SoFi 250, pins 220 to the buy side. Nothing really.
No, nothing really there. I have Intel written down at $98 as a long. That's where the 200 period was when we had that. So, we'll just wait to see. The sticky note is now out. You can go find it on X. Thanks, Andre, for putting that one up. And yeah, I just wanted to say, Micron's one story. This is a completely different story right here because it's just every day. And Micron seems to be the same way too. Brandon just mentioned, the note, nothing red since April there on the chart. But so yesterday, pretty choppy, but it just right off the open, comes into the 200, then blasts off. Sometimes you only need one trade. So if that happens again, why not just sit there and try to get a 1275 bid on Micron? Yesterday, everything was kind of cruising until it wasn't, and it dropped down there at 936, and then it gives you the best buy of the whole day down there at 1208, and then it just rips up $70 straight to the upside within 30 minutes. So boom, that's your trade, comes back, test it again, and then we don't have to worry really until it breaks around noon, and then kind of upside there into the close, and then probably some sort of a imbalance there creating this downside move. But right now, why not? Why not try to wait around for SanDisk? So I don't think you need to get too excited with it early because, again, you're at all-time new highs. But why not try to play a pullback? The low of the pre-market is 1278. You just have to dip down just a little bit lower than that. And then there's 1275 from yesterday as well. So yesterday's high plays today as your 200 period moving average. I think you can do a lot worse than trying for a couple bucks here on SNDK around 1275. So that's looking pretty juicy to me if you want to roll the dice today on what I think is going to be a risk on day. Bitcoin just really cruising to the upside. The NASDAQ now trying to go. ES going as well. So everything right now is upside. ES up 0.5%. NASDAQ up 0.75%. So, you're starting to get those feels again about these names, right? So many stocks starting just to head back up to the upside. We'll have to watch out for Palantir. Amazon's a very interesting one. There's the tick higher at Amazon up to 275. Tesla's trying to break through $4 right now as well. It's going to be a good day. Just we need to get NVIDIA over 200. And that, I just mentioned that. And there goes NVIDIA $200 again.
I forgot that we had a super chat about NVIDIA. It's just Assyrian trader? Sure. And today is NVIDIA Day. I certainly hope so. Okay. I don't know what makes it NVIDIA Day because AMD reports today and Intel has news, but we can hope that it is. Speaking of which,
Intel. Why is Intel up 5%? If you
sold, there just an imbalance?
If you sold Intel on any day other than today,
yep.
Look at this name. Just keeps on going higher and higher and higher. And what's up to Taylor in the chat? We've seen a lot of traders get very, very excited about Intel, and U.S. government puts a 5 handle on this name. They're up 500%. Yeah, they bought it at 20. I bought this name at 20 as well, so pretty lucky to have these shares in the account right now. But there goes Intel, man, still holding on to a big portion of that trade. But yeah, through the levels right now, Intel up 5%. Oh, okay, well, here we go. Maybe this is why. So let's go find out the story here on AMD. Here's a little hint. They're reporting tonight.
That story on Intel is surprising to me. I mean, Apple spent, what, 10 years with Intel as their main chip supplier, move away from them, and now they're just going to go back again? It just seems...
They're just going to manufacture, though, Brent, not design.
No, I get it, but it just seems, if you're going to make that leap, why not, go all the way? But anyway, good for Intel. AMD coming back in here a little bit. I mean, no pressure, Lisa Su. No pressure whatsoever. I mean, I'm sure there isn't going to be a problem with their report, but let's see, 4:15, we'll bring it to you. Yeah,
catch that on the market recap show. Here's what we're expecting. Revenue of $9.89 billion. That would be a 32% year-over-year increase, and earnings per share to come in at $1.29. Now, data center, basically a euphemism for their AI division. Investors are laser focused on this segment, projected to bring $5.56 billion. That would be a 51.5% increase on that top line number year over year. And also the valuation wall. They got a bit of a downgrade yesterday from HSBC, basically saying all the good news is priced in. And a major underreported concern is whether they can actually meet demand, because Taiwan Semi's 2 and 3 nanometer is basically stretched. Let's see if they get any.
Yeah, a lot of people selling into the report yesterday with a red day. Good luck, guys.
All right, thanks, Brendo. Yeah, Palantir just went for a dip. Intel's going for a rip. So lots of stuff happening right now. Look, we had mentioned a little bit about Palantir and being a little worried about what this stock could possibly do. We just touched 139 on Palantir, and now you're right back up to 143. So they're buying this name up, and boy, oh boy, are they buying up Intel as well. Brand new all-time highs for Intel, 101 and change. New opening. I don't know. We've probably gotten before this, higher than this before, but I have $100.45. So there it goes. Intel right now, 102. Oh my, as they go bump in the night here for Intel on, as they mentioned, man, a good deal with Apple. So we'll see if that, and again, it's a rumor, but people don't seem to be waiting around for that rumor. It's Intel's world right now.
By the time they sign any major clients for their fab business, like and it's official, forget about it, because you're talking years down the line. And you already mentioned the Palantir, so that little dip. I suspect there might have been like a small imbalance on Palantir. Wow, what is Intel even doing?
Palantir's coming back in again, so who knows?
Yeah,
the market's coming back.
Palantir's still coming back in. By the way, I mean, the NASDAQ just wicked the high, so if you're looking for some, Intel's going absolutely insane right now, but if you're looking at pretty much everything else, it was a bit of a wick at the top. Bitcoin not really pulling back into prior highs. Let's see if it can hold VWAP. Bitcoin has been sort of like a slow roller early on most days. Gonna have a look here. I'm still thinking the only fade I was automatically going to be going for was eBay on any kind of a pop because of yesterday's move. But that's just sliding down. That's not even going to the upside at all. Let's see what Micron.
I think there's a lot of people loving some.
Micron broke out the high as well. Yeah, Intel's at 102 now.
That's what I was going to say. I'm going to take advantage of this drop down in NVIDIA and try it a little bit here. But I don't know. I mean, I was going to say it looks like the shine's coming off the king here, because maybe we have a new one anointed by President Trump. I don't know. Just right now, it's Intel going absolutely insane, as we'll stick around with some NVIDIA trading here against 198. We don't need to go too hard into this. I am bidding a little bit more down here. So there it is. So we get our pretty much a good level there. I'm going to get out if it breaks 197.75s. Give it a little bit of room through 198. So that's going to be that trade right now. And by the way, there goes INTC. Wow.
03.
What an absolute. Okay. NVIDIA also, guys, we got a big trade alert on NVIDIA happening. We just put it on, and there it goes, man. Nice little move there. Almost a buck right there on NVIDIA. We said we'd take advantage of the move down. I mean, just because NVIDIA is winning, or Intel's winning here, NVIDIA's basically already won. So let's wait to see what winds up happening here. If we can get back up to the upside, I like the stock. Good level there, good pickup. Oh boy, man, we're having a good little start to our day right now with NVDA trying to go higher and higher. Good little pickup there, 1 for 1 to start the day. NVIDIA along 198.30s. Trying to take, there it is, man. There's your first dollar club. One trade, $1. That's about it. We talk about takes one good trade. And I feel like we just put that one on for you right there. So here we go, man. Nice move to the high side right now for NVDA.
Yeah, NVIDIA dipping and ripping and ripping.
Wow, $2.
Well, Intel is going absolutely ham, but I got to watch out for Palantir. We didn't think there was a chance that we'd see 35s, but look at it go. So it's heading precipitously. At first, it's at the 140 level. So if it can hold 140 on a 15-minute, I do like that. I'm going to offer eBay to try to pick that one up. and we're going to still wait for our one entry in crypto, in iBit, I shouldn't say crypto, in Bitcoin specifically. All you needed was that one shot off of the open yesterday. I'm going to take maybe a couple of shots here, not wait for the absolute trend break because the market just went. If we're going to hold VWAP, I'm going to take a shot in there first because the market is already going through the HOD. Tesla might take out that 400 level. Again, it already took it once and it's starting to pull back, but Intel's just the most far gone. That's the one I wanted to the long side, and we're not going to be able to get that. So we'll have to move on to Palantir on the dip buy. 135.5 is the prior support that I like the most, but 140 was also pretty key close level. If we close holding that, then this is also a reversal play, and just look for the V-shaped recovery. So iBit giving it to the early low. Palantir, just want to see it hold 140 on a closing basis on this 3-minute. Still all systems go. The only place I'm offering to look for short, doesn't even look like it has a chance to get up, is eBay. That was such an obvious sell in yesterday's trade. Hopefully people took profit on that stock.
Yeah, hopefully. eBay, yeah. All right, so I'm just still feeling pretty good about this one. We just got up into the highs of the day and then we failed a little bit. Let me take another piece off here in the 30s if we do get another bump. We are starting to pull back just a little bit now on Intel, on NVIDIA. We did take advantage of that, man. I mean, we take advantage of the dip. We buy a little bit more there as well. We took advantage of that and buy the bottom. Now we'll wait to see. There we go. We get some out at 30. We're out of half right now, exactly half of NVIDIA. So this could still get bad against us. We do have ISM Services PMI coming out today as well. It looks like it is. Let me get another offer here out on NVIDIA as we are pulling back just a little bit right now on that one. So, all right, yeah, Intel's been the story today. We did want to look at Shopify as well. Shopify right here, still pulling back in. Maybe found a bottom on that earnings low of 114. A decent look there for Shopify if you're looking to pick something up. And NVIDIA's coming right back in into 198 again. What's up, Adara?
What's up here is we have some news from our friends at Origenics. OGEN, thank you to Origenics, of course, always. And they just announced active enrollment in their Phase 11A trial for ONP 002, which is a first-in-class intranasal treatment for concussion and mild brain injury. There's no FDA-approved drugs in the space today, so ONP 002 is designed to target the underlying brain injury, not just symptoms. Breakthrough treatment here, early enrollment underway. Data is expected before the end of the year. Thank you to OGEN. Back to you.
Okay, thank you, OGEN.
Yeah, shout out to OGEN. Appreciate them for sure. So still, I mean, the NASDAQ's breaking that 28,000 and continuing higher. Palantir is absolutely gone. Intel, well, if your plan was to different rip, it broke the 100. That was on that, well, there wasn't an imbalance, but I think there might have been like a flash of an imbalance. It's almost 9% to the upside on Intel.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, I'm just hoping that
stock
NVIDIA
makes me speechless. What's weird though is with this breakout, you got AMD, which is not really going. I'm looking over at some like lagging plays here. SMCI, what is red and cratering? They report after the bell tonight, so that's another one that's not making a move. And then ARM reports Wednesday after the bell. That's failing a bit of a breakout. So it's not everything that's going. Certainly Intel standing out a bit, but I've been put in the higher low. Going to give it to the low of the day there. And again, it had its best entry point pretty much at 10 or like 10:02 yesterday. But I want to take a couple more shots at it. I don't think it's so obvious as just doing a trend break at 10 o'clock or something along those lines. But now the first look above the volume weighted average price, we'll see what else it can do. SanDisk also, by the way, is unreal.
Is it right now?
Yeah,
it's probably through 1,300.
I didn't go to the memory names. Whoops, PLTR. I didn't go to the memory names. We were just going through the names that we hadn't already looked at. Palantir decisively closed above 140. But if I'm looking for a close over 140, I'm not chasing the move to 142. That key level from Joey Options actually holding up pretty nicely. So we'll have to look for a VWAP entry there like we're doing with iBit.
Yeah, 142, a good one right there. Look, man, I mean, we're doing it right here. Again, $1.50. We did not reload that NVIDIA, but we're just going to watch out for it. I'm still now offering upside 199.93s. We'll see if we can get through that $200 marker here again for NVIDIA. We've hit our daily goal, and that's something that I think is important that we discuss, is that trading, we always talk about how difficult a business this exactly is. So if you're able to hit something even right off the jump, make sure you do take your profits, and you never know when things are going to turn around. Sometimes it's worth getting it, getting your goal, going and spending time with family, or getting that, that full-time job. Trading is definitely something to watch out for. But thanks for joining us and watching us. I think that's the best part, right? We can all learn together as a group and just continue to focus on getting better every single day. And I think, continue to prove our worth here. With the trades that we're showing. So there it goes, man. Yeah, Intel just, again, cruising to that upside. I guess I'm not going to hit it. It was the #1 trade idea here today. And we wrote down 98, which was actually pretty close in the pre-market. I mean, we wrote it down, it was like 98.50. And then it just started to bump up. And we use the same story as everybody, right? Apple with that move. iBit not near my level. We set the alerts today. TQ's starting to take off, so we don't have to worry about that. And we'll look at Shopify as well at some point here today to see if that one wants to go. But there we go again, man. It's a big move, that's for sure, for Intel. Just waiting to see if we can get something similar for our guy NVIDIA right now. Just kind of do its own thing here. But there goes Intel. I think it's I'm fine with this trade because of what it is, but at the same time, I do think that this is lacking a little bit because of what's been happening with Intel. And I'm going to put an offer out on Intel, get out of that some more shares today on INTC. I got a family. Yeah, there it goes, man. AMD now trying to go back up to the upside. So let's hold on to some of this NVIDIA and see what we can do with that one. Coinbase, had a downside play there today. We did talk about their situation, of course, with cutting their workforce. They're heading to the downside. And I did say that, Circle's probably not done anything. Yeah, so it kept going lower. Really. We said that if Circle took this 124 area, that I liked the buy up to 126. But right now, Circle's not doing anything like that. It's actually going the other way. So, none of my alerts have hit yet, but yet we've hit our goal. So that's what it's all about, right? Is about finding that next trade, making sure you're into something that you like, if you like anything at all. And, a position is flat. So, if you are flat and waiting for something good, look for yours. And right now we just had Neil, you had SMCI and something else along there. But right now.
SMCI wasn't on the list, but it did something.
Oh, it was iBit, it was, right?
SMCI did something that made me get in. It was just when all of the other chip names go, I know this was not on the list and we didn't really even discuss the plan, but where it bounced yesterday when I was short, it just held and then did a trend on the 1. So on the 1 minute, it did a bit of a trend break. So I'm just going to go for the trend back to the volume weighted average price with the stop at the low. iBit was at the first level, not really at the ultimate bottom, which I think is the prior high or the 45.3. But I said I would take it VWAP to the low. So I've taken one shot at it, but it's always, yesterday was one clean entry off a trend break, but you don't really have a trend until after the market opens. So I wanted to make sure I was in if it got VWAP, but the new one for me is going to be that SMCI. And because it was early, I popped to a 1 minute chart because 3 minute trends at 940 are kind of useless. What just happened? I went through my 3 minute and my chart just crashed.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm in SMCI here. I can just flash over.
Let's go, NVIDIA.
So I want to see it get past that prior close. That's like 27.9 and then into 28 and then into the volume weighted average price. And it's like everything started going, the chip flow going, and I had no idea why SMCI reporting tonight was looking so bad. So we picked that one up off of the low.
Good job on that one. Look at NVIDIA here. Low of the day, high of the day. This is exactly the kind of stock that we're looking for, man. All the time. Come on, NVIDIA. I see you guys in the chat. What's up to Super in the chat there cheering on for NVIDIA as well. I hope some of you do have this stock in your portfolio, and you'd like to also have Intel in your portfolio. We just get that 199.90 right there on NVIDIA. Low of the day, high of the day, banger for NVDA. Just one trade today. With Robinhood, we've seen crypto going to the upside there. I know Neil was in and out. We're still waiting for lower there on iBit. But Robinhood now kicking lower right now pretty aggressively too. I was actually thinking, why is Robinhood's getting killed right now, by the way? This name was $79, now down to $76.80. Pretty good destruction here on some of these names that I was not certain of this. I'm a little surprised exactly about what's happening right here. With Robinhood right now. That's a pretty ugly.
Breaking 16.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So what is going on? There's not, we had thought that this would be a crypto play that, we liked and could support.
This is fintech. Firms that low.
Yeah, that would make sense with PayPal. Yeah.
With PayPal getting hurt. I guess this is sympathy to PayPal maybe. PayPal's. You know what? But PayPal held the low here pretty good. Like this is SSR. It's 10% down.
This is interesting here. I mean,
I held 44.5. It's making a higher low right now in PayPal.
Holy shit, Intel. Intel's at 107 right now.
Okay, if this gets to $110,
this is
happened like the last 3 or 4 days in a row.
This is why
I like the long on Intel, and then I only make money shorting it. This has happened so many days in a row. I don't know what's going on with my charts, man.
I might have to just log into my account, man. I mean, I'm throwing away a vacation.
Yeah, if we get to if we get to 110, it's been shorts the last couple of days that have actually ended up making money for me.
Oh, Ramin's here.
We'll wait
Hi,
for
Ramin.
it. We'll wait for a reversion on Intel. It's getting out of hand. Adara at the desk.
Yeah, good morning, Ramin, and good morning, traders. As we await these S&P Global Composite Composite and Services PMI prints here, did have a Google headline, pretty brief one. Google's ban against a lender in a chip suit was upheld on appeal. So if I get more details on that story, I'll let you know. That headline did come through, though, for GOOGL. We're 16 seconds away from S&P Services and Composite PMI. Services PMI, 51.3, forecast 51.3 prior. Composite PMI, 52.1, forecast 52 prior. We're going to get ISM Services PMI, the more closely watched print at 10, along with JOLTS job openings. But in just 1 second now, 51 here coming in for Global Services PMI for S&P. That's going to be just below estimates at 51.3. Composite PMI 51.7 versus 52.1 expected. So for both of these services and composite PMI prints coming in a little bit below estimates, and the market not seeming to care, just continuing to push to the upside again, guys. We're going to be getting ISM Services PMI alongside JOLTS job openings at 10 a.m. So stay tuned. Back to you.
Yeah, we'll wait for some more numbers coming through. So it looks like we do a good one there. 51 versus 51.3 on the global services. PMI, let's go, man. TMI on this one with NVIDIA. I mean, maybe we have too much information. We'll wait to see if it does take out through $200. Again, we just have one trade on today, man, and it's been this one. So just looking at the scanners, that's how we come up with that Robinhood. We see that making a move lower, trying to understand that one. Coinbase, obviously lower as well. I mean, this is what we're talking about with fintech. So as many of these names get lower, maybe there is going to be a buy area. Yesterday, we were all about buying SoFi at $16. It was literally on our note. Maybe that was something that we could have looked at here today as well. SoFi down at 16. I didn't even have it on my radar. We opened up the day at 16.50. We thought everything was kosher, but it doesn't look like it. Yes, NVIDIA, it is not a $1 move. Now it is a $2 move. So there goes NVIDIA right now into the $2 club. So again, if we could do this, I want to say if we can do it every day, we are kind of doing this, but there it goes. Nice upside move for NVIDIA. That's the low, that's the high, and NVIDIA just keeps on extending it through. So man, I mean, one trade now almost at our 2 times our daily goal as we just continue to watch this one go to the upside. We only have just under a third on, let's call it a quarter on right now of this trade. Should have got a little bit more greedy with it, but that's a good out, obviously, as we just wicked through. I'll take one more piece right now and get into about 20% left. There it is. We get a 10 level there for NVIDIA. So it's just what it is right now. Nothing but love on the upside for them. And then Micron, I mean, we looked at that. We said we had on the board Micron 600. How about Micron 630?
Well, it was at 607 when we.
Yeah, but I mean on the board 600 right there. That's where the 200 period moving average was, and there it goes upside into 635. Again goes Micron. Oh boy, man. You've now found the best place to go with. Neil and I putting on the trades, talking about the trades. We've got the news right behind us, man. It was an incredible April. It's early in May, but we're doing it here. Happy Cinco de Mayo to everybody celebrating there today. And we got some good feels going on right now in this market. The NASDAQ up 1%. Couldn't be happier. Just check the account, and we are in a jolly good old mood right now.
I can't bring myself to sell 2 days in a row.
Yeah, I sold some. Well, I have an offer out for Intel, 107, so we'll see if that comes
just
through.
Tagged. Oh, shoot. My things.
I feel like I have too many shares. It's becoming too much of a.
I see 107.27 is the high. I am into that eBay in front of the volume weighted average price. Again, like the stock didn't really pop. So, if you're not going to pop, I'll take a shot at that volume weighted average price. SMCI is halfway to VWAP and then re-entered back into the iBit as it broke the trend. So it was a downtrend, got in front on the front end of the trade, but now looking for the back end here and then a press into the high. PayPal ended up not really getting into that one as well.
Cheers, Chris.
If you miss the bottom, there's no point chasing. Ultimately, these fintech names have been pretty bad, so not going to chase into that move. And as far as Intel and 110, I guess maybe we don't even want to get to 110. That just turned at 107. As I said, 107 quarter or so. That just pulled back pretty heavily. But the market's still going pretty strong. This was going before the market went, so just a healthy pullback, I think, for Intel. So iBit back into the long, looking for HOD. SMCI more looking for the volume-weighted average price, because I think that's a bit of a weak stock.
It kind of was a perfect storm.
They report after the bell tonight, too, allegedly.
Who does?
You've seen
SMCI,
like time delays and I don't know, just weird stuff with them before. But they report after the bell tonight.
Yes, and this time it actually says they're going to report at 9:50 p.m. Last quarter they reported at 9:51 on the dot. Or sorry, 4:50 p.m. Wow, I'm tired. 4:50 p.m. Last quarter they reported 4:51 p.m. on the dot, which is, as I suspected, I thought was a pre-scheduled release. Sounds like this time they're actually just committing to that pre-scheduled 4:50 release.
Yeah, we wouldn't be sticking around for 9:50 p.m.
No.
No, because the day that we stuck around, and they literally reported, I think it was like minutes after we left that one day. But we should be able to.
Yeah, it's not a big. I mean, I remember.
They're not.
Yeah, they don't move as much as we think.
And people don't care as much about SMCI as they used to.
Yeah. Okay, man. All right, here we go. $200 coming in for NVIDIA. It was a good shakeout, whoever just mentioned that there. I think that was right, because I did get shaken out a little bit there. I'm not sure where that was. Oh, yeah, sell calls against my Intel position. Yeah, I actually canceled that 107. I'm just going to wait to see how far this one goes. But, yeah, someone just said NVIDIA did an ultimate shakeout there, and I think you're right. It did make that move lower, and I did take some out there at 199.50. I take another out at 200, but we just ripped again. So we got back-to-back high ticks right here for NVIDIA. So we're doing pretty good and pretty happy with the way this stock is performing. That is for sure. I mean, just a quick little look at the U.S. Oh, man, get over here, charts, at the U.S. dollar. I thought we were maybe getting new monitors at some point here as well. But okay, so this is what it looks like on a 1-minute chart right now. So we'll have a quick little look. So pointing downside, we do see some nice aggressive plays right now, possibly in this market on the U.S. dollar. I mean, if the U.S. dollar keeps on coming down, the NASDAQ right now is up 1.1 and looking to go higher here. So weaker U.S. dollar works for that trade. So we like to see that. And here is the rest of this world right now that we're living in. I mean, pretty green overall today. I don't know what's going on with Meta. I don't know why they're not celebrating this. Meta down 0.7, Netflix down 0.8, Microsoft down, Google right now upside, right? It's this space that is really, really rallying absolutely everything. Cisco up, Intel up 10%, of course. Financials, we got a little bit of a shake up there with that Coinbase miss. Dropping off. It was Shopify was the earnings.
It was mixed. It was mixed for the credit card companies.
It was PayPal was the word I was looking for.
PayPal.
So they started this sort of, everything was fine, right? And then PayPal off that earnings call dropped 10%. And then, some of these names trying to rebattle back there. Really like JP Morgan right now, 308. That's a deal. Like that was up to 330 and change. So I like that one. Robinhood bouncing nicely. We went to Robinhood when it was at $73, by the way, here on the show, or was it 76? I was like, wow, Robinhood just fell down out of nowhere. Right, the 76, sorry. Now back up, 73 would have been way too low. 76 down there, back up to 78, now trying to battle with their 200-period moving averages themselves right there. Seeing Oracle coming on some of the scanners. So I think on a day where, we see strong chip names, obviously we project forward and say, okay, data and growth in the space with these data centers still going to be kicking out strong, or else we wouldn't be getting these moves higher in NVIDIA and Intel and Micron and all that. So Oracle, really, really like Oracle down here. I think that those levels at easy to say when it's at 180 that you like 140, but that little take right there, I'm going to up that bid right now into 160. If you get anything down here near its 50-period moving average, really like Oracle there to sort of right the ship, and it seems like they've been doing that. And especially when OpenAI comes public and gets that public money into it, Oracle should get funded. So we'll see there. And it's not like Larry Ellison's going to let that thing fall down anyways too much. But there it is. Nice uptake there to $200 again for NVIDIA. I'm not going to get out any more. We'll see how much this thing can ride. I mean, maybe if we want to do anything, it would be at the 50 period, which is 199.50. But the way this thing's moving, we only now have just under 20% left. So don't want to give anything back, but going to start to use some of these levels like VWAP as indicators. So 199.30. I mean, our stop on this trigger was 50 cents. So we've already made $2 on it. Let's put an order in at 199.29 and get out of half of what we have left, and then we'll work with that last 10% and see where we can go there. But yeah, so far so good here today. Yeah, Intel, what a monster, man. 105 and change. DraftKings, you mentioned.
Baddies in the chat saying, who's in the chat saying that they think it's laughing at the notion that Intel, saying Intel will be at its highs. Taking profit on the way up doesn't mean you think that this is as far as it can go. But again, I took some profit on it yesterday. I still hold more than half of my position in Intel. It's just, what do you want if you're in? I was in at like 22 as an average price on that stock. Sometimes you just have targets and it gets more than you expect, and I want to buy a dip. I've sold cover calls on it before, but not this time. SMCI is a play to the volume weighted average price. That's not a short. I guess I already had an order out when I took that fill, so it just coded as purple. I'm not short, as you can see. And then we have iBit, which is pulling back off of the high of the day, just a little bit. Bitcoin, which is holding above 81,000, is pulling back off the highs. So took it in front of VWAP, but this was on the way down instead of letting it make the bounce. So I want to do the same thing again. Let it come down, let it make a bottom, and then try to get it on the other side of a V. For sure, Palantir is still continuing to gravitate towards some support at a 135 level, but there's not much standing in its way. Like, it's still all red. 135 was that prior level here on the 15-minute. So let it continue to head down, catch a bit of a reversion. I think when this stock starts to get going, you can definitely get some really good mean reversion trades on PLTR, but it's still $2 away from a pretty significant level that I'm watching. But you can now start to think about that reversion trade here on Palantir.
Yeah, I saw someone just mention that 133 level or something, 134. I like
35.
I didn't even look at Palantir. Wow, so it is, it is getting hit quite nicely. And look, man, I had forewarned about this stock and talking about getting some out. So I hope you guys are sort of feeling the same kind of ways about Palantir, which was a good report. Just worried about moving forward with Palantir. So, all right, Oracle, just trying to see if there's anything else hitting. You can see down here, none of my alerts have hit yet. So iBit, Intel, Shopify, Qs. We can look at I mean, the Qs aren't going to hit right now. It's going to have to get a little bit of a decent pullback, that's for sure. I was still looking at that 120. That's your 200 period moving average. So we can hold out for a little bit here. We can look at the NASDAQ. When I talk about the Qs, that's what I'm talking about. I'd written down 65. I mean, yeah, right. Like when we write that thing down, it's at 65.80. We were waiting down here for 65.25. Looking at that 200 period maybe right now for the TQQs, possibly something to play off of if we do get back into that level. 200 periods, like 66.20s, good little buy area there if it comes in. That was sort of the calm before the storm, and that storm was 9:30, man. As soon as the market opened up, we started taking off. So congratulations anybody that was able to trade the futures to the long side early. Not sure what the reason would have been other than just watching those chip names, because other names have fallen back in. Remember the news with Apple and Intel, that's what's really kind of sparking Intel as far as I can tell right here today. It's also helping out Apple. As you know what, for Apple to get some chip makers that are onshore, I think that's good, right? I think more U.S. love there, especially with the current administration. We like Apple, we like Intel today, and we like it when we get to throw over to Adara. So let's go find out what's going on at the big desk.
Yeah, too bad Randy's not here right this second, because I'm going to be talking about Ford, guys. F on Watch. Bloomberg reporting that the company is working on a new electric pickup truck at its, quote, Skunk Works operation in Long Beach, California. They want to create a lightweight plug-in vehicle starting at $30K. Back to you, Ford.
Ford, okay.
Asking Randy for a bit of a refill. So don't want to hold through VWAP, but I do want to get back in if we make the other side of the trade. So every single time we downward trend, I want to get out, look for the re-entry into iBit. I know it didn't break the prior low, but I don't want to hold things to the low. I want to make sure we're getting the bounce play and then always holding into the HOD if we're able to get it. Palantir's at 38. It's close. I'll call it close without any cigars just yet. I don't want to be too early on that one, but Palantir goes one time. I think you can be absolutely fine. DXYZ could be going downside. Did Tesla break 400? No.
No, not yet.
Problem is, every single time I flip a chart, this is happening. Apologies for my charts today. But Tesla losing VWAP, heading back down. So a bit of relative weakness over there in Tesla. And I'll attempt to flip over to Intel. No real levels forming on Intel just yet. I think it's a bit of a chase here. It seems like it's strong enough to see that 110, but typically when it's done this, I've been much better at picking shorts than trying to find ways into ridiculous upside longs. So I might just end up sticking with that. Look for the 110 and play a mean revert on Tesla, and then just continue to go for the scalp trade in iBit. Like scalp to high if I get a reentry over VWAP, and then play any breakout as long into the break and then hold through, as opposed to trying to take a breakout trade here in Bitcoin. Micron looking pretty strong, but I want to continue focused. Like iBit, you really only need that one entry, that one time that it went. Still hasn't really given you that, but I still think it will.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, we'll wait. We've got our ideas of what we're doing with iBit right there. And that was a good trade, man. Let's bring the cash register there, as we have less than 10% left now on NVIDIA. There's that dropout right there at VWAP. So, yeah, I'm not even really looking at it. I will reload this thing at 198, but we do have Services PMI coming out right now. So we're going to be careful with exactly how many shares we reload on this name. We'll just put a little bit, maybe half a unit down there at 198. Happening now in numbers with Adara.
Also, some housekeeping. President Trump's going to be signing a proclamation on camera. That'll be happening at 10:30 a.m. So in about half an hour, President Trump will be speaking. JOLTS job openings, though, in under 10 seconds. 6.85 million was the forecast. Prior print here, 6.882 million. ISM Services PMI 53.7 versus 54 prior here. Let's wait to see if we get these numbers. JOLTS job openings, 6.866 million. That's going to be above that forecast of 6.85 million. We've got the ISM Services PMI 53.6, just below estimates of 53.7. And again, along with the S&P Services and Composite PMI below estimates. We get our third PMI print of the day, all below estimates, though that JOLTS job openings higher than expected, and we get this push lower here in the queues as we digest these numbers. And we have tons of earnings after the bell: AMD, SMCI, LITE, and I believe also MSTR. But one of the biggest names moving today actually has nothing to do with earnings, or at least not directly. It's Intel. INTC and Watch Bloomberg reporting that Apple is considering U.S. chip production, and they're talking to Intel and Samsung to do that. That'll also help them reduce their reliance on Taiwan semi-manufacturing. PLTR, though, one of the many earnings names on watch today, along with the likes of PayPal, Pinterest, and Duolingo. PLTR on watch here, beating EPS and sales estimates, raising their guidance here for fiscal 2026, and beating guidance for Q2 2026. Be sure to make sure to subscribe, and stick with us all day, every day, as we send you back over to Sean and Neil.
Before I do this ad read, I just want to show you guys right here. NVIDIA, we told you we were going to buy some 198s. We do that, and there it is, man. Watch out for your face there. Some glizzies coming right at you. 198.50 right there, 50 cents in the money on that one. And hey, if you're following me, then you know that these markets and all of us here have been extremely active, especially with names today, man. For traders, this kind of environment should create lots of opportunity, more setups, more momentum. But to really take advantage of these conditions, you need two things: discipline and access to capital. And that's where Trade the Pool comes in. Instead of being limited by the size of your own account, traders can access firm capital and focus on executing their strategy and managing risk. No more fear of blowing up your personal accounts. No more moving your stop loss too early because you're worried about your own savings. This is what we call limited risk trading. So if you take advantage of the volatility in trades markets without risking your own capital, please visit tradethepool.com and scan that QR code and use Trader TV, one word, to grab 10% off. And oh no, we did it again on NVIDIA, Neil. This is back to back right there. We took $2 the first time. Here's another $1, man. The stock has only moved $2, but we'll take 3 out of it. Good job there for NVIDIA as we continue to climb through that, man. Buying that 198 dip works out one more time.
One more time, we're gonna celebrate. Love that song.
That's right, baby.
For sure. Right back in, same price we got out, but let it make the bottoming tail candle, and then take the shot on the way back in for iBit. And first shot at the reversion on PLTR, on Palantir, I should say, is that just came, held a higher low. We're past 10 o'clock, so wait for the opening range to go, holding the higher low. Why is that one coded short sell? Thank you very much, Randy. Appreciate it.
That's his nickname,
As
Joey
long as
Shivers.
it holds a higher low, we're good to go. Looking for the VWAP retrace on PLTR.
Right.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate it.
All right, a coffee and a tea. I like the lemon tea. Yeah, why not?
I don't know. Throat's been bothering me a little bit, but it doesn't really make a difference. So we got the reversion on here. As again, we're into iBit. Intel, I don't love any long that's setting up here. Just haven't really seen anything pretty cleanly. It could always do something nice, like trend down very clearly. And if I don't mind a trend down because that gives you a bit of an entry. But I'm not really seeing anything too obvious. Like right now it's got a little bit of a 3-pointed trend line. You could try to break this out, which would be a nice little play back into the 107 high. Otherwise, I wait for a 110 and a potential reversion trade here on INTC. I haven't really checked back in on PayPal, but enough moving around here. SMCI could be something, but I feel like it went to VWAP once. If it fails VWAP again, I might start thinking about this as a short more than anything else. It's down when the market's up, right? So if you get away with one, don't need to go back to that well over and over again. You got some relative strength here in iBit, so if that presses into the high, same plan. I'm going to try to take out half into the HOD and then hold the rest for a break of the high of the day on iBit. I want to see that 82 go, the 82,000 mark on iBit go. I just want to quickly show you on Bitcoin. We were able to get to 81.7 before, so I want to hold through the high and see if we get to that even dollar again.
All right, good play there. Yeah, so we're just kind of doing the same thing, man. We just watching out for NVIDIA. Yeah, we'll look at SNDK. What's up, Benton, over there? We talked about SanDisk earlier. I said if we ever got a dip into that 200 period, which was 1275, we could look at that one. But, I mean, I was just, like, the proof is right here. This is SNDK. Joey and I last week, we each picked stocks. SNDK, 1030. This is just to show you just how crazy these stocks are. 1039. This was last Monday. It's Tuesday right now. You're at 1367 as this just keeps on going 30% higher. And then we were screaming about that buy on earnings down there at $1,000. I mean, what a good deal that would have been if you were able to catch something there. But right now, man, it is just rocking and rolling, SNDK. And yeah, I mean, we could definitely have looks at it, but I don't really know what to tell you guys because, if it doesn't pull back, then I'm not sure there's a trade here. So, I mean, you want to just keep buying the tops? I mean, it's been working so far today, so you could wait for it to break that 372. For me, you had obviously a good opportunity right into here, and then it broke out. So, maybe what we're waiting for SanDisk is to let it form out, and then base, and then maybe we can get a rip off of a base. But for right now, it's just, it's pretty much on one once again, man, up another 8.4%. And when you're making things that people can't get enough of, this is what winds up happening. SanDisk to the moon, with its good friend Micron as well, both doing heavy lifting right now in the NASDAQ, because we looked at the broader markets here, and there wasn't, Western Digital probably, murking names as well to the upside. But right into here, like, it's not all roses, like, to see the NASDAQ being up right now, what we're doing, and that is up 1.14%. It's nice to see Google has starting to hit upside again. Microsoft was a little bit lower than it is right now. Netflix does not look very good on that stock side of things. ServiceNow, I see some of these names that have been affected, obviously, by, the most recent AI, IBM, Salesforce downside. Palantir, I said, is a big sort of, sort of barrel pointed right at them, and we've talked about that. I think we'll get a little lighter on some of our Palantir shares very, very soon as well. Intuit, now that Joe's filed his taxes, Intuit downside, now down 3% as that keeps getting lower as well. Healthcare technology, man, it's nice to see Eli Lilly back up. This is the largest holding in my account in this space, although maybe we do have XPI as well. And then the manufacturing names, again, like, it's a data center story a little bit today with these chip names and Micron, SanDisk, Western Digital. There goes Lam, AMAT, G Vernova, Deere, John Deere as well.
That's safe.
Caterpillars. Yeah, man, these are all the great names. They're all at or near all-time highs.
Deere's a good value.
Pretty
Deere's
much.
At the highs.
Yeah, Deere, the tractors, there, get some tractors going. Philip Morris, Coke on earnings last week there as well. So here we go, man. Yeah, good so far today. We're obviously hella green. I only have one trade today, man. It's just back-to-back jacks here on NVIDIA. So yeah, I think the trading is speaking for itself right there. All right, somebody buying that pile of Spirit Airlines assets. Yeah, so Fly QQ is Fly IIIQ right there. I don't think anyone's buying anything today, but there it is, down 3% right now, not doing a whole heck of a lot of volume, 1 million shares right now. This is Spirit Airlines. So yeah, good. Thanks for the super chat there. But if you do want to get involved in it, you got to go over into Pink Sheet Land there. Yeah, light is tonight, Lumentum. We talked about that as well. So LITE. We can have a quick little look over there. Or we can go over and update your iBit if you want, but right now it's just light.
No, that's a keystroke. Oh, well, it must have been. This didn't break the low. Why am I getting out flat? But I just jumped right back in. The stop was supposed to be prior bar, and it did not break. So I just entered right back in at the same price and replaced the stop order there. As far as Spirit Airlines goes, I mean, ultimately that's whatever. I don't want to get into politics, but at the end of the day, sometimes you have a bit of a better option if you let the free markets do what they do. There was a chance for that deal to go down, and now shareholders got absolutely rinsed, and you can look at the fault for that. USO for breaking some fresh lows, so still like the long. And PLTR, it did break prior bar on the first trend line break, but it didn't make a fresh low. And now it's setting up again. I'll let this one confirm. Instead of trying to grab the candle, I'll let this one close above. I just didn't want to miss this kind of a reversal candle, but I don't think it has that kind of strength on it. So I'll allow it to confirm above a trend line before getting into it. And here comes Intel now. So Intel is breaking towards HOD. So if it takes out that top, at least now it'll have some kind of a trend to get into. This is almost exactly like 2 days ago, where you like the dip buy into support, it doesn't go, and then there was like 1, 2, I think 3 or 4 quality short opportunities. I didn't like the first one, so I didn't bother taking it. But the second one is going to be a trend break or 110. That's all I'm focused on now. Now you've got a pretty clean upward trend. You get one shot into VWAP and you're good to go, or you get the 110 level as a nice round number in there. SMCI, you could make some arguments that it's made another bottom in here, but I'm going to stay away from SMCI unless it holds like 28 or something and can go green. Market's entirely too strong to be fighting that one. Again, they report tonight as well.
All right, Coinbase down 2%, breaks through again some levels there. So we'll have to wait to see what winds up happening right now with USO critical metals as well. We just hear CRML now. Up or down 8%? I think it was down, was it? Their critical metals, no, up 8%. So nice little move there for CRML. And man, we just took advantage of that move up again there in NVIDIA. So right now I only have about 30%, a little bit about 40% left of that reload right there. It looks like we're having a hard time breaking through that 200 period moving average because the shiny thing in the room here, and we haven't traded it yet, is INTC right now. We just hit 107 again. So if you're looking for a trade, man, it might be Intel today, up through 107 one more time. We could check out what Marvell's been doing. That's another name that I believe, can and already has moon, but I think you get going even more than where it has. But your downside right now in Marvell, it looks like Intel definitely capturing everybody's excitement now in the space. So Intel, nice move today, and Marvell, downside. I really like ARM. So if ARM...
Marvell and ARM's charts, the amount of times that I see these two stocks have this weird connection, like it's just, they'll do the same thing and they're not the same company. It doesn't make a lot of sense, but for whatever reason, these are not going with the rest of the chip names. The second you said Marvell, I went over and looked at this ARM fail. They report tomorrow after the bell. I don't know what time. Adara will probably be able to tell you what time. Oh, so we'll be able to cover them for you tomorrow after the bell, right at 4 o'clock. We'll get ARM. But whatever reason, this is only up 1%. You know what? Forget this. The chips are stronger than Palantir. Let them be the trend break today. Like, I can't see this with the market higher and not want to go over to a name like that. But Intel just continues to go higher. Looked like it was threatening to break the trend and then just bounced off of it. So as long as it holds this line, we wait for that to break and play it into view up. The further it goes, kind of the more the opportunity there is, obviously. But that also means that it's even stronger and closer to that 110 level, which is sort of an obvious place to look. 10% up from that 100 break as well.
All right. Yeah, we're staying. I mean, I don't know what time BBAI earnings are, but we are staying tonight for a little bit of time there. But the most important thing for tonight is the NHL lottery draft. So that's tonight, yeah, May the 5th. So we'll see if the Maple Leafs do hold on to that 5th pick.
There's not till 4
or lower there today. So
it's not supposed to be till 4:15.
Yeah, I was saying, I think AMD was 4:15 too, right? So hopefully we'll get both of those today for you, AMD and Big Bear AI. I don't know. I mean, look, man, Palantir, I don't have any expectations. I mean, Palantir, we saw, I just showed you CRM, Intuit, some of these names that are software-based names, like getting hit to the downside there today. So, you know,
USO, huge spike.
Okay, so yeah, the market pulling back down again. We did get another opportunity to get some out there, 198.80 in the last 3 or 4 minutes, but here comes the move down right now. So it's probably news. I mean, you just mentioned USO on the move down. The NASDAQ also pulling back. Oops, USO. Why does it always go to USOI right there? Okay, so yeah, not a huge move up. 50 cents up for USO, but it looks like the market is taking out some of those lows right now, or NVIDIA is, sorry. The market right back into the 50-period moving average, definitely something to look at right there. Remember where our stop is on NVIDIA, 197.75s. So we're getting close to, there it is. Okay, well, I did not trigger there, so I'm going to have to just offer it out and see why that didn't happen.
USO move just.
All right, well, now we're out. I don't know.
There for sure. You know what? This might be a chance to, let me look over.
Why did
No,
that
Intel's
run?
not breaking trend, but that candle to the upside, almost certainly, like we were just getting right back into VWAP, looking like, okay, well, where do we want to take some profit? And then boom, we just broke that low. So if we're going to get a move up there, and we're still going here on USO, like we're still breaking almost at the volume weighted average price and trying to break that out. If that continues, I'd be looking for shorts anyways, but we'll stick to the rules. It would be easy to just say, whoa, punch short because the market's going up. Nah. No, break the trend, get to 110. Like, Intel's not the kind of stock where you want to bust the rules out because of what's going on in USO. Like, Intel doesn't have to care about it. It would be good if this sets up perfectly and we get that VWAP trade. But UAE saying some air defenses dealing with a missile threat. Same headline as yesterday.
Yep, same headlines pretty much as every day. It seems like something going on over there. And yeah, so we get out of NVIDIA, but like I said, man, have some water, relax, chill out. We are definitely doing well there today. We just have one trade. I think we got to go over, if the market is going to fall down, you want to look at names, you know, potentially that are going to be reporting tonight that people have some good feels about. But AMD right now breaking lower downside right now. Shopify was a reported name today as well. That's holding out okay. It's still down 8%, but holding out during this market move. Trying to hold the VWAP, so that's something that's interesting for me as well. We'll trade if iBit comes down even too much lower. We'll be on that one. I know it's been a little bit of a rough time trying to hold on to iBit, but if it comes into our levels, then we're going to be there to buy that up. 45.50 is what we wrote down on the note, so we're going to be ready for that. We have our alert set right here for when and if that ever comes through. iBit looking for lower right now, right here. All right, Uber as well. Let's go. This is not the price of Uber. Uber and why, I guess. That's probably why. So there it is, now down to $74, but holding out pretty good, right? Near the highs of the day is Uber, despite having this move lower right now. So we'll wait out for earnings on these guys on Thursday. I'd definitely like to have a quick look at Uber. Looking over at my notes, it was just the NASDAQ looking to buy on some sort of a dip, right? So we are getting that dip right now. And of course, based on what's been happening in the Middle East, I mean, that's the only way that dips are probably going to happen anyways. So we can wait here now for TQs, just bouncing off VWAP. So we might have just missed that trade on VWAP. So 66.60, we'll see if that comes through again right there. 66.70, sorry, where VWAP is. So maybe a little look there as Intel just took out the highs one more time. So Intel just ignoring everything that's going on and just takes out highs now and says, thank you very much. We're going just a bit higher. So there goes Intel right now. Yes, it is taking out new highs, 107.50. Amazing to see this name continue to go right now. You know, tag us, whatever you guys want to do in the chat, let us know, because right now I'm looking for a couple different names. I think Neil's traded 3 or 4. I've traded 1. Pretty good day so far. 10:20 on your clock. So we'll see if there's some sort of an actionable trade. No more numbers, I don't think. Right here we can check our, just Fed speak all day. The last number, Jolts, Fed's Bar and Bowman. Bowman's supposed to be speaking now, Bar at 12:30.
Also, Trump at 10:30 a.m. signing a proclamation. I have no idea what it's about, and it also, he could start late.
Proclamation.
Okay.
No idea.
All right.
Okay, we'll figure that out then.
That's not nothing. Tape maybe not as Qualcomm, by the way. Just I saw that in the chat. That is going absolutely ham, and that was distinctly different at the open. I don't know why it was dipping so far, but now at 5 points, they had a good. Hey man, they had a good Q as well. And a potential breakout if it can get above 180 doesn't look that great. 185 on the daily. 180 local, 185 as the bigger level. But that is an intense move back up. I just saw when we took out that high on Intel, it's not as, what's the word I'm looking for? Mean crazy as when it was breaking through earlier. So it's slowing down just a little bit, but I'm trying to be really patient about this one. This is very against the grain, and it's hugging the trend line so ridiculously tightly here that like a break, I won't chase a break down like $1. If it breaks the trend line and falls $1, then that's the move, and if you miss it, you miss it. Be willing to miss it to make it. But this is the one I'm looking for next, right? Like it's just too big of a move and too big of a reversion not to make a play for. We got the small cap recap with Adara. I haven't talked about too many of these names or any of them since the pre-market, so let's see.
And this first one, actually one that we talked about yesterday, I noticed a lot of people in the chat taking this one, so I wanted to bring it up. Nice bounce off of the intraday lows here for CNSP, which we know rallied massively yesterday after announcing an oversubscribed $22.5 million private placement. They also have a $4.8 million market cap. Now you have SDOT Sadot Group here, market cap of just over $1 million, float of 1.5 million shares. No news on SDOT. Last but not least, BLZE Backblaze here. This one has roughly just under $500 million market cap. So larger market cap than the others, but still very much in that small cap realm, sub-billion-dollar market cap. EPS beating estimates, actually posting a surprise profit here. Sales also above estimates. They raised their FY26 guidance and their Q2 sales outlook coming in above estimates. Back to you.
Right, that's too bad, man, because we should be $2.50 in the money on AMD, but unfortunately we didn't give it enough room. We took it right there at 50s. We gave it to O's, so we were just long at 345.50, and now it's at 347.70. So yeah, man, fail there, but whatever. Just absolutely wild action on AMD. Like we lost 50 cents. I mean, but now look where it is. So, but whatever, man. We'll get it back at some point here, and we have a new position right now, and it's my guy Marvell. So shout out to Marvell and company. Let's see if that one wants to keep going a little bit here with MRVL. Oh, sorry, there's AMD. There's Marvell right here. So we did buy that dip at 165. We'll give this a little bit of room. It just shot up into 165.50. So again, could have had that 50 cents, but we're looking at AMD there and wondering, what have we done? As now it's at 48. Oh my.
Oh my God.
Going higher right now is our good friend AMD, and that's too bad because we would be ringing the register right here as we had. Look at that. Look, we take a look at that. But that's a nice move anyways for AMD. I hope someone bought that dip right there as we were all over it, man. A good positive day here, but yeah, we did give some back on that. That's crazy on that move. But here we go. Just took Marvell for some 30 cents. We did get a fill there at 30s. Pretty illiquid, right? I mean, we've looked at this stock a couple times, and it always amazes me because it doesn't look like the rest of them. Decent spread always on Marvell, so we got to be careful if this one does dip down, which it's trying to do a little bit right now. I'm going to give this one to basically the bottom, 164.50. We're a little lighter because of the fact of this spread, and maybe we'll just wait for some AMD to come through again down to that upside, but if it comes back from upside, we'll see. There's a little bit of a dip buy there. We'll see if it can get going here. Marvell back up right now. Good little dip buy there. See if we can punch some out. We'll offer some 12s. There it is. We take it. And now into the 30s. Wow. Was that ever a good dip buy right now? Spin it again for Marvell. That's too bad, man. AMD, I'm going to come back and get you, my guy. You don't worry about that. But there goes Marvell. Just bought that dip. Now we'll see how upside this name wants to go. MRVL. New trade alert, baby.
Yeah, Marvell going, but Intel's really starting to struggle at this high. It's gone into 108 like several times on a 3. You can't really see it as well on a 3. If I went to the 1, I'd be able to show you. But back and forth over that 1, like it just gets over 8, gets about like 10, 15 cents, and then it gets slammed back in, and it's riding this trend line as it does so So I'm going to be pretty locked and loaded as long as it holds. Fair enough. You're not going to see me jump into it, but this is going to be the next. The frustrating one is going to be no questions asked. It's going to be eBay. I'm staring at this. It broke the volume weighted average price, which was the area that we liked, and it's still at lows. So we get in the consolidation, runs the stop, just in the first time it didn't, and then just barely runs it the second. And then you could look at this, everyone has their own style. You'd be like, well, Neil, it went in the money like 40 or 50 cents. eBay not looking for 40 or 50 cents. Looking for much more than that. So you could scalp it if you like, but not really looking for a scalp trade on eBay. And maybe there's another pop to be able to get back into that short, but for now the eyeballs are going to be on Intel. A little bit too much potential for this if we break that downward trend. Break the upward trend here on this one. So AMD's going, you have the chippings trying to get back into some of those highs, but you're really starting to see a little bit of consolidation off of these tops on some of the chips. It's like that.
Look at this, man. Look at this AMD trade. Oh, my God. Look, happy we found it, right? The process is better than it ever's been right now. So, you know, just picking yesterday, we were 4 for 4. This one, like, honestly, 50 cents. I should have given it a little bit more room, but came into the low of the day, so we're just going to follow the process. And like we keep saying, man, I mean, you guys can clearly see the trades that we're putting on here. Process is working. And this one just, got away from us. Wow, that's $5 right there, and I gave it up for 50 cents. That is really too bad right there. But that's okay. We'll be back. We'll be back, baby. And then, by the way, like I'm saying, crying over spilled milk, and then we have this. You know, Marvell, almost a dollar club on this one right there, but it was AMD was much, much bigger. So we'll hold out that comes back at some point, and maybe we can retrade some AMD. Yeah, Robinhood came right back into those levels just 2 minutes ago. We were at the lows of the day again for Robinhood. So, you know, that could have been bought up right there at $76. Lots of missed opportunities here today. So, and yeah, you guys saying that, you know, Micron, some of these names going absolutely ballistic. But there it is right there, man. Every position we've had on so far has gone for us about $1. So we'll just continue to watch out for those plays. And again, you know, missing out on that AMD is what it is. iBit 81.3 did not get into my level right now. I know Neil's been back and forth with it, but I haven't been able to make any trades yet. That came pretty close, man. I mean, we were about 30 cents away from our targeted level. We do have our alerts finally set up now, so that's
still not holding VWAP though.
Good. No, yeah, I don't think it's going to be the greatest move.
No, like it's come in, it's held VWAP. I've been long at VWAP, above VWAP. It hasn't broken. Like again, every single time it tries to break the trend, I want to be in it. It's only trying to do it now again. So every single downward turn, if you don't look, did it press back into 45.3? No. Did it press back into prior high? No. Do I like the long if it breaks a trend? Yes. But it needs to hold above that trend line. So a couple of scalps in and out, and then most of the time it just ends up losing the bid. So it's relatively weak here. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. The market's pressing, and it's really just the chip names that are going. But I got to follow the rules, which say if it's in the downward trend, I don't get long until it shows me a break. And that's going to be the most important thing. When you get that break, then I like it. Now, Intel seems like it does want that 110. That brief all that little battle here at the 108 doesn't result in a trend break. It results in a move into this 110 level. Well, that's where it felt like maybe it was going to be headed. But until it gets there, you're going to see me try and follow the rules and look for that, ideally, one entry. I don't mind taking 2 or 3 shots at something. But like ideally, you're looking for that one place where it just makes the turn. There's some days where I probably would have been short this 2 or 3 times already. But I feel like today came in a little bit more bullish on it, so that's a little bit of a different story on INTC. But do not want to miss it if there is a trend break. Like this is one that we just got to have. SanDisk 1400.
Probably.
Yeah, well, Micron's going crazy. You saw Qualcomm. Western Digital was up 6 points.
Why not?
That wouldn't surprise me. SanDisk should be up more than Western Digital. So if Western Digital was up 6, it should be up 10. That'd be my guess.
All right, man, we're right back. We made back everything we lost there, obviously, on AMD. We made back everything we lost on, and we didn't lose anything on NVIDIA, but like there's that drop out there on NVIDIA as it just battles right back upside again. So, yeah, we were feeling kind of ways there because we had dropped out some of our positions, but again, we're just following our rules. Could have bought back some NVIDIA, but glad that we not glad that we didn't, glad that we were able to find Marvell, as right now we're out. We only have 20% left on this one. And just because the up and down movements, I'm going to punch a little bit more out right now as well on Marvell. So just trying to, absorb a little bit of that trade back there to the upside. I still got to get some more sleep some of these days at some point here. 179. Boeing hitting some scanners coming up here.
The sleep is
right now.
A cousin of death.
Yeah, I know. Sleep is a cousin of death, but everyone around here always talks about how important it is. So I got to definitely get into that one a little bit more. Sleep, I think it's 6 hours last night about. All right, so Boeing there, 222.
Good.
Yeah, 6 is not bad. 222 there, upside. We'll see what happens for Boeing, but definitely a good little level there. Not really sure why this just hit on my scanner. But it did, so that's not VWAP. There's nothing really going on here with Boeing, so I'll have to see what that alert is all about. But yeah, I like Boeing. That did give us a good opportunity to dip by some of them earlier, and Boeing, good opportunity to take advantage of some of those moves in BA, just to diversify a little bit away from some of the tech names. I mean, as more and more travel names come into play there, we'll have to wait to see as gas comes down a little bit, hopefully. I mean, oils is making a move lower. I don't think it's going to make a move lower at the pumps. I saw a big price tag again today at our pumps, but there it is, downside right now for USO. So I could see CCL and some of these names starting to pick back upside a little bit if and when oil prices finally do settle a little bit. But okay, so for right now though, Marvell still $1.30 and change in the money. We'll continue to watch out for this name, MRVL, right now, good trade. And I'm just gonna, woe is me on this one a little bit, but we did have AMD. We lost it for 50 cents and then it goes $5. But good trading there as we wait for earnings report tonight from AMD, Advanced Micro Devices.
Yeah, AMD after the bell, it'll be a big one. SMCI sort of. And shoot, who was the other one? Oh yeah, it was, of course.
Big Bear AI, Big Bear AI.
No, it's Lumentum.
Yeah, of course.
It's Lumentum, an absolute rocket ship to the upside. But we did wait for that trend break, and we'll always jump back in on the trend break for iBit. But I'm staring down Intel. We'll play, again, half out to HOD and then hold and then try to buy any dips as long as we continue the trend. But Intel just took out the high and is very much, I don't want to move too late, very much headed for that 110. So the more it glides, the more we wait for that one chance at the reversion trade. SMCI is at 1,400. What would be really interesting is if you get all of these things converging at like a theoretical top at the same time, like SNDK 14 would be a good 10% from the local high. Micron doing something very similar. No, they're not all the same, but when you start to see a lot of parabolic stocks, double digits, when one takes a turn, it's likely that you might see a few other ones start to top out a bit as well. But Intel's the one that'll be on my mind. So iBit, again, just going to take some out into the highs and try to hold that second half. And then the second I see that turn on Intel, I'm going to be punching into the short. Looks a little bit too juicy for sure on this bad boy. Haven't really looked too much at the other Mag 7 names for what it's worth. But there's not a lot to be excited about. Like Microsoft is literally at the low, almost at the low of the day here and not participating. Like you said, it's mostly a chip story for the NASDAQ. You got Meta, which is literally at the low of the day and not participating. These names are absolute dogs here. But it's not, I don't know that it's necessarily their fault. The market's just being driven by the chips specifically. And then, of course, Microsoft may be falling for some of that software punch, right? Like Palantir. Think of it along those lines.
All right, everybody, yeah, thanks. Make sure you do hit us up in the chat. Hit us up, ask us any questions you want. Ask us about your stocks. Ask us about our stocks. We do have the stock visualizer as well, Andre, if you can put that up. Right now, we can have a quick look to see if there are any names that you guys are talking about. AIOS is also one that's flying around a little bit right now. I just noticed that was a recent halter, AIOS. We can definitely have a little look over there. Tesla, Palantir, NVIDIA. I mean, we've been focusing on these names, but we didn't look at Tesla yet, up there near $450. This is how you vote. You got to put $sign in there and then get that, sorry, up at 400. Get the $sign going there on Tesla, whatever you want, man, and we'll be able to identify it on here. There's iBit as well, 46.17. Neil's in that one, added that exact price. So Apple, Robinhood, AMD, Google, SNDK, all rocking and rolling. I think we've done a good job covering most of those. But there's Tesla right now. Wow, Tesla does see $400 today, and then whoosh, all the way down into 394. For what reason? I don't know, but Tesla is falling back in pretty good right now. 402, like whatever got that stock going, put the brakes on that one pretty quickly. All right, just to let you guys know, Marvell goes all the way up, and we take advantage of that. And that was a really nice trade there for Marvell. 10% left. You know, we get VWAP, we get the 200 period moving average, low of the day to that. Boom, boom, pow. One mistake on today, and that was a $7 winner. That's AMD right there, man. Just in and out there at the lows as quick as you like. You know, to have that keystroke back, fine. But we're still at double our daily goal right now off of basically 3 trades. That was a reload of NVIDIA, worked out perfectly right there, able to get out of the majority as we did not take the 200. And look at this, man. 200 period, both VWAP rejections right there on NVIDIA. So we're going to stay away from longing that name there. And then the only other one was Marvell. So Marvell, NVIDIA, AMD. You can tell we're a big cap tech trader right on this side of things right now. So, you know, this is what we do best, man. We trade. Yeah, it's been really a fun one, that is for sure. JP Morgan, again, been a really, really great April, great May. May's young, but we'll wait to see if it continues to hold out. We talked about this at 307 or 308 this morning. I thought that was pretty decent there for JP Morgan. And looking at the charts, this is kind of why we like it, bouncing in and around these areas here. If rates can hold, JP Morgan can make money in any environment, but I really do like this level here, 305. Pick something up if you're not into JP Morgan. But yeah, Robinhood, the mover these days off earnings and then crypto.
Well, the bigger problem was all the fintech today getting dragged down by PayPal. And as strong as the market is, PayPal got waxed a little bit. You had SoFi get waxed. I think just on a little bit of sympathy.
Oh, yeah, what is PayPal?
For sure. PayPal, actually, I don't have that one up anymore, but it was trying to bounce off of 45 the last I checked. So it's making some lows, but the fact that it reversed the move, it was up on earnings initially, and then getting absolutely shellacked. Okay. This is Intel. For the first time, it could be a red candle making a top into this trend break. Ideally, I would much rather it have like a parabolic and then an obvious reversal candle, but beggars can't be choosers. It's going to break the trend however it's going to break the trend, if it even does so. And someone said in the chat, are you shorting it at 110? I'm like, yeah, if it breaks the trend line. But I don't want the short if it doesn't break the trend line. Same way I didn't want the long in iBit until it starts breaking like up any downtrends. Right? Like I'll take it whenever it does this. I'll take it when it does that. I'll take it when it does this. But not going to try to get it on that way to the downside. Same way I don't want to be short Intel on the way up. That'll just run you over for sure. What's Apple doing? I feel like if I look away from Intel, I'll miss the break. So I'll just pull Apple up on another chart.
Intel 110.
I know, it's insanity. Like we were just talking about this at,
I love it.
Forget about like the $80. We were talking about this at like $40 it was consolidating.
Yep.
Apple's much stronger than some of those other Mag 7 names. That's good. If Apple dips after earnings, it's always a buying opportunity. That Fold story was an easy buy because, well, first of all, it turned out to be fugazi, but easy buy anyways on Apple. It's going to be a boring run to the all-time high again on Apple, but it's still going to get there this month.
I think we can let Intel go one more time up to 110.50, and then we'll see if it fails that, and then we'll short that if it does break back down below 110.50. So I'm getting ready to maybe do something on that one if it does come back up. That is the high. Let's see it test it, run a little bit, then break back down below, and then we can take some Intel short. But until then, I'm going to stay away, man. Thanks, Taylor, and everybody there said, yeah, probably don't sell at 107, so we did cancel that. We mentioned it. There we did not sell. Now it's up to 110, so we can make an extra $3 there. I sold some at I think it was 55 or 56, as Neil had mentioned. We did have some consolidation. Yeah, probably right here, the last time it made that move. So I was going to say probably this candle, 57, 58, maybe even a little bit earlier than that. I don't know, somewhere in there. And then we only sold our next piece at 90s, 89 there. And so we still got a decent portion as we try to make new highs on the day for Intel. I'm just wondering if the pullback might be in right now, but we all might have thought it right there, bounced off of the 25 period. So we got to make sure that we do beat and hold 108.80 if you're looking short on Intel, because the last couple of times we've dealt with the 25 period moving average, we have made moves higher back through there. Make sure you take a sip of water. People talking about Poet. Poet had that deal with Marvell. I don't know if that deal is back on or not, but right now Poet, huge move to the upside. Maybe Adara can help us out with this one. POET, up from $7 up into $9.40. There was a canceled bunch of contracts from Marvell.
It was canceled.
I'm only seeing call sweeps. I saw a lot of people actually talking about this on social media today about the Marvell thing, but nothing like super bullish or nothing. Again, nothing super specific. Apparently, though, July 17th, $16 call sweep is what I'm seeing here for POET.
$16 call sweep.
Wasn't the story there was, yeah, I thought it was the other way around. They lost contract.
They did.
Right, yeah.
They got and they lost it. That's the
Right.
huge move right here, from 16 down to $6.
Yeah, that's what I thought for
Poet there, yeah. And so, man, that AMD is really starting to grind me up a little bit here. Just 3 trades for myself today, and we'll go 2 for 3, but AMD is just a baby one. Baby loss, but big win potential. And that's how we're trying to keep them there. PYPL, as we mentioned, bouncing off 45. That's definitely a trade to look at for PayPal. I think down in those areas, just like we were talking about Shopify, I don't know what it's at right now, but that 117 area, yeah, that's where VWAP was. So we're starting to trade underneath that right now. Maybe the market has lost a little bit of its ways. We're under 10% on Marvell. We did have a talk about that one as well. So maybe we'll start to get out a little bit more as we're pulling back nicely here on Marvell. Let's just punch out there at 50 as we take the 25 period moving average. Now we're at 5% left for Marvell. Whatever happens right there for that one. But yeah, big profitable day today, and hopefully you guys are having that some kind of success. I mean, the NASDAQ's starting to pull back a little bit. Hopefully maybe you got some of those highs. If not, it's only 10:40. Lots of the day left. Midday show coming. They'll talk about some small cap runners, and they'll talk about their successes and whatnot. So yeah, we'll see what they're doing on the midday show.
We'll still have 20 minutes to go. Intel's trying to go. So it just confirmed the trend break. Nibbled in, but we'll let it confirm the trend break here in this candle. Breaking the trend on a 3-minute, and then I want to see it hold the second candle underneath, which it is doing. So I think we're pretty much in the trend break. But I'm eyeballing 107.5 here instead of VWAP. If it doesn't pop in and give me another shot at the 109.40, call it 40 to 60 range in here that I can give to the 110, then I might want to jump out of this one a little bit tighter. 109 is already battling pretty heavily. It did so on the way up at 108, and that's the reason why I'm looking at the exit here is when it tried to break the trend the first time, there was a lot of buy consolidation, like right in this little battle at 108. So that same spot looks like a bit of a target for myself. So as long as we close this candle underneath 109.5, I look to add and play it to 107.5 to 108. And then from there, if it breaks down, fine, VWAP will be a bit of a thing. Let's go over to Adara. Time to see Sector Watch, where we already know the chip should be leading.
Electronic tech is, as Neil kind of alluded to there, in a category of its own. SanDisk up 9%, Micron up 11%. So the strength in this group continues. Got to give honorable mentions here to Seagate and WDC. All of the memory names as of when I checked before the bell in the NASDAQ 100 are 4 of the 5 strongest names in the index this year. The other name in that mix was Intel, which is up another 13% today as we get that report from Bloomberg suggesting that Apple's talking to Intel and Samsung about manufacturing potential on U.S. soil for their products. Now we have tech services, which is a lot more mixed. That SaaS pullback coming in here, at least for some of these names, with Palantir to the downside on earnings, ACN, and Intuit also weak. Netflix, Meta, and Microsoft to the red as well, but Google to the upside. Finance kind of mixed here. Consumer non-durables flat to mixed. Industrial services actually quite mixed. Health tech mixed, but Eli Lilly and Johnson & Johnson to the upside. And retail trade with a lot of strength. Amazon here up well over 1%. You've got Carvana up about 3% here. This is going to be earnings day 4 for CVNA. And I have to talk about producer manufacturing. This group incredibly strong. Caterpillar, LRCX, and AMD both up more than 3% each. Only weak name here is ETN, down about 5% for Eaton. Back to you.
Thanks, Adara. It doesn't stop. We just put some Tesla in our account there and took 50 cents. It's still a 50-cent winner. You can take it if you want. We're going to wait for, we took out half. We're going to wait for a move up to 394 again. Take $1. Hopefully, we can get that here on Tesla. And it's not about the dollar club, although it's been a great club to be in these days. We're going to wait to see if it can extend out a little bit more than that. There's 394 and change. There it is. On Tesla one more time. Maybe there's some more run here. Maybe there's not. But we're out of half there. Our stop is going to be the lows there. So we'll give it about $1 now. Open it up a little bit. Play with some house money. 395.20 there. That's 390. Okay, that's three. We can go 394.50 on Tesla. Maybe we do get a nice little move higher there on TSLA. Yeah, definitely. Definitely found our way here trading recently. Tesla, boom, shakalaka there to the upside. The only thing we got to wait for is looking at our levels here. Intel, so, just looking over at our note, right? So far here today. We don't even have Tesla written on it. That just showed up there. But we'll go to here. We'll check it out. We have Intel 98, right? Like when we wrote that level, it was 98.50. But now Intel's at 110, 111. That's gone. iBit, Neil's been back and forth with iBit. We can review that. 45.50 didn't come in for me. TQ's nowhere near that level yet. We almost bought that dip. Maybe we should have. Instead, we go to Tesla over there. And then Shopify does not get above 120. So it's just funny that we write down all those names. And today, man, we're not in any of those names. And we still have our daily goal there. And it was just following it, waiting for dip buys, right? Tesla, we saw that exhaustion candle. There goes the move higher. So we're in that one. We don't even have NVIDIA written down. That's going to be P&L number 1. And then Marvell comes right in again. And there goes Marvell right back up to the upside again as well. So we should take something out on Marvell. And it's just about, being ready, being prepared, being in your zone again, and finding opportunities. So there it is with Marvell. Here's my board, right? Like nothing triggered in here yet, but we're able to find it. And then, oh boy, what a day this could have been if we had just, it's still having a great day, but if we just held out for AMD a couple more pennies, we would have had that one. And here goes Tesla right there, man. It is a hot dog cannon there for Tesla. So a bunch of great opportunities we're able to find here today. And I hope you guys are able to capture some of that. And I know we're still waiting for iBit dip buys as well. So that's the only one that could maybe come through for us. And I know you've been on Palantir as well. Someone just mentioned Palantir as that goes to the downside. What was, you were long that name or short that name?
Had one trend break.
Tried it.
We tried it. 135.5 is the level.
Palantir.
But one of the reasons I love levels and they're good and I like the plan of action, but when you don't get to the levels, I like setups even better. And when I was going over, when I look at the last, it's about 6 to 8 months-ish, probably a little bit more than that, because it's actually probably closer to 8 to 12 months. It's really been the setups that have been better for me. Like in the example, someone was like, well, why are you waiting for Intel for the trend break? It was just as simple as when I looked at the last few months, like I said, about 6 to 8 months, maybe even a little bit longer than that, I looked at all of the best trades and every single month. In momentum, the top 2 or 3 trades were just always trend breaks. And the longer the trend break, the better. And a pullback, and not even the ones that fall through, like the one where you just get in, the level holds, and it gets to the volume-weighted average price, or it gets to your target spot. It was almost always something like that. So recognizing that, that's what I look for. And you look for those shots. Now it requires a bit of discipline, because something like a PLTR, when you try to make the break, the rule is trying to get in as it breaks that bar. So I wait till it comes back to that price. I get out at my stop level, and sometimes that'll happen. You just don't have it timed perfectly right. But when you do, you make sure you lose small for the upside of the volume-weighted average price. Right? You want to look for that big potential. And as I say that, the all-day trend break on Palantir could be coming in. It's not at 135.5, which is the level I like, but it could give me that breakout here. So let me just hit save, because I want to see that trend. I want to see that line back in when I go over to it again. That's essentially just a trade setup that I like. And the more parabolic and the wider the move, obviously, yes, it gives you more opportunity, but you're going against the grain more. So in this case, once we hold here, it's like keep it really tight to the 110. There are buyers galore at the 109 this $0.50. So I've been getting in at lower highs as it wicks lower. But the second it's not making these little tiny lower highs, that's a do not reload and do not try to scalp in. So Palantir seems like it's the next thing setting up. Pretty close, but not just yet. Not just yet.
Yeah, there it goes. You guys are right, right there, Joey. Good trade off that Tesla there. I basically took it. We did fall into the 200 period moving average there on a 5-minute chart. So that's kind of what got me started there with Tesla. But good look there as we talk about setups. And yeah, good look on that Tesla setup there. I hope you guys were able to take a little bit of profit, obviously, on that trade. NVIDIA's it's just amazing that NVIDIA's been like kind of like not great today, but yet it's going to be the #1 P&L name here, and it's on the longs. So that's just like, take advantage when the stocks are there, and then when the tides turn, right? I mean, it was an easy one not to reload, in my opinion. We went up there into the 200 period. We got dropped off right there. When it came back in, we did not reload it because we got rejected right there. So, even if I do reload it, like it's not giving enough love to the longs. So you got to take advantage when the pressure is there. Sharif, look at this trade right here. 345 long on AMD. We lost 50 cents, and then the thing blasts $7 right to the upside. So watch out for advanced micro devices today. A halter for you, my guy, Sharif. AIOS again today. Almost 1 million shares. I don't think this will be fitting your criteria because there's tons of halts everywhere right now, but it's above VWAP, so we have just about 12 minutes until we see what Sharif's thinking about and Joe on the midday show. So get ready for that, man. Great chemistry over there.
Only 2 million on AIOS.
Yeah, exactly. So that's going to be a good one there. Okay, SKK. I know this was one that you guys talked about yesterday. That's halted as well a couple times today, down 52%. Right there. SKK today had its day, and we had talked about it whenever you're going to reverse split or anything like that. I don't know if that was the case, but SKK downside play for now on that one. So we've got Marvell in the money, we've got Tesla cooking, NVIDIA and AMD all on watch there. And as Neil just went through it, couple shots for Palantir at this low might be worth it. We'll see if Palantir wants to hold out right now, 137. But hey, man, 2 times a daily goal, not too bad. So maybe we take tomorrow off. Just kidding. We'll be back in here tomorrow to put hopefully some damage back on the board as well. It's 10:50. Why not go for it right now? Let's go talk about what's for lunch before we go over there and get money talks. Yesterday, it was chili tacos. So it was actually pretty tasty there yesterday, I felt like.
Hard taco.
A hard and a soft. So that was great. I love
hard
those.
Taco was better.
Yeah, I love those combinations there when you get that a little bit of each. All right, man. Today's lunch is a Greek flag. So Greek. All right, so that's good. Today's Cinco de Mayo.
You know what I'm going to say about
Yesterday was tacos. Taco Tuesday. Today is chicken souvlaki. So that's a winner right there. That's a face slapper. On Greek Day, we get grilled chicken souvlaki. So there we go. We get the rice pilaf with pita. So there you go again. Another Greek taste there. Mediterranean vegetables. And I find it really weird when Neil whispers, but he did it again. And he said, please have Greek salad, but it's mixed green salad today. But I promise you they'll have some Greek flavor to that, I'm pretty sure. It always says that, man. It says chopped salad, mixed salad, garden salad, all the same. We hope that there's a little bit of cheese on there today. But that's what's for lunch. Sounds like a good one there. On Happy Cinco de Mayo, we celebrate Greek cuisine around here. It is grilled chicken souvlaki with oil going to the downside. Let's go find out what's going on with the world's global currency in the US dollar with Money Talks.
This DXY chart continues to have some of these lower highs here on the daily. We had this gap up and slam down last Monday of 99.3. Then you've got last Thursday with the high of just over 99. Today, trying to make a little bit of a pop here at 98. halves level, currently trading around 98.40. Either way here, looking to give up its 3-day green streak is the US dollar. Now, as Sean mentioned, we're going to have massive unemployment and overall employment data coming through on Friday, US unemployment rate and non-farm payrolls. But today we did get some jobs-related data, namely jobless claims, or sorry, not jobless claims here, JOLTS job openings coming through at 10, higher than expected. 6.866 million versus 6.85 million expected. Other economic data was mostly these S&P Services and then ISM Services PMI. All of those PMI prints below estimates. S&P Services 51 versus 51.3 expected. S&P Composite PMI 51.7 versus 52 expected, and ISM Services PMI 53.6 versus 53.7 expected. Again, though, JOLTS job openings above estimates, and we'll have to wait and see what happens with initial jobless claims on Thursday, then NFPs and unemployment coming through on Friday. Back to you.
Thank you, Adara. And it doesn't look like we're going to get another lower high. So I don't see topping tails again, so no reload. Much weaker on the first two and the hold of the 108, so leave the stop in, don't reload it. If it breaks the top, it'll be closer to a flat trade because we got to reload. But obviously, when you see a trend break, I want it to go like this. Like you want like that confirmation and then a plunge. Hence why it turned into a bit of a scalp reload play. And then the other one we're waiting for again is going to be Palantir. That one, whoops, yeah. Blue Ocean is always going to be the first thing that shows up on the drop down, but we don't care about that. It's still holding the trend line nicely without making a fresh low. So as long as that's the case, once it breaks, then going to jump in over to the long. I feel like, obviously the missed opportunity is going to be eBay, and it's not really giving me any signs that it wants to come back. There was just no chance. Like once I got away from it, there was no chance to get back in. Through lunchtime, I'll look for that volume weighted average price at 106.5. 2 days of selling after this GameStop, allegedly. I mean, GameStop did take a 5% stake. So it's not like they didn't, they have made a bit of a stake in there. But it's just closing this cash and stock would require probably a little bit more dilution than I think anybody would actually like. So I think it's pretty unlikely that it happens. It might still. And at some point, it's not going to be a short. It'll just be a value. Because eBay actually has been a pretty strong stock for the last few months, if you checked it out.
Yeah, we are going to go back to Adara. Look, some traders don't really want to, talk about, or they put, their losses under the rug. Not here, man. We don't do that. We could talk about all of the wins that we've had today, but damn, AMD, did you run off of those lows there to the upside? Just like we post our Tesla, just like we post our Marvell, and just like we post our NVIDIAs. We'll go 3 for 4, but man, AMD, you got me right there, my guy. That was a good one. Just 50-cent stop. Should have learned a little bit more about that one. But, we will, and we'll get a little bit bigger stops as you go. And we always talk about that, man. It's always a happy medium between trading, the right amount of shares with the right amount of risk. And we did that with Tesla for sure. We don't even have to worry about it. We are now we have 20% left. I mean, I had hoped that we had been able to get a little bit more out above 394. We'll take some more 50s right now. 50-cent winner on board. Like we said, we hold. We don't have any LFT right now, so whatever we lost on AMD, we made it way back on Marvell. Marvell's $1. We made it back on Tesla, so we'll end the show at the highest spot we were all day. So I think that's definitely worth something right there. We found our groove. That is for sure. So yeah, we did. Well, yeah, we got it back, but I'm not sure it went anywhere. Okay, so right now, Boeing, Tesla, BMNR, nothing's really hitting on my scanner, to be honest with you. Right now, Affirm, maybe, Boeing, Oracle, pretty much the same. Oh, yeah, good. We got Adara. What does she got for us?
I have for you guys here some USO headlines, nothing massive, but I do want to mention Associated Press News here, AP News, reporting a couple different sources talking about how difficult it's going to be here for the Strait of Hormuz to be reopened in an operational way. They cited a Hapag-Lloyd executive, that's a German shipping company, who said that passage through the Strait of Hormuz is, quote, still impossible, and also cited former military officers said that reopening the strait remains, quote, a daunting task. So a couple different sources here, both military and in the shipping space, saying, hey, this strait will definitely be a little bit difficult to get reopened. Back to you.
Thank you, Adara. Looks like, well, I mean, I elected not to because it wasn't a lower high, but there's still this there's still some selling happening on the top end of this 109. But again, going to follow the rules. It holds the consolidation and doesn't go right away. So I can add to it early, but I'm not going to add to it late when it's making that rounded bottom. But there's still some sellers up there. PLTR still refuses to break that trend, but it's getting pretty close. Like, it took Intel a while. This is about as tight as it's been to this level since the open. Like, at the open, it was hugging it, but that's way too early. Now you're starting to see it hug, holding that prior low. So going to just try to get it in one time and look for that view up here. Not a great day for Palantir overall, down 6 points. But there's a couple of ways to look at this. One, the expected move was like 9.5. So it dropped, but it didn't fall farther than the expected move. So therefore, continuation, I still think gives you that nice little inside move and gives you some places to bounce here on PLTR. On the long term, again, it didn't break the trend that I would have liked to see on the daily chart. So in terms of any like swing in Palantir, unless it's above the 50 and breaking that trend line, I'm not a fan. But for this one breaking, this 3-minute closes probably when we're firing off to the midday, and I'm looking long. It'll be about 137.5 if it can hold this candle. 2 U.S. destroyers are off the coast of the UAE inside the Persian Gulf, according to reports. Well, okay, so you mean that you have assets there? No, I, for one, am shocked. Well, it's just we see all of the same. We're seeing just a lot of these. It's like the UAE preparing for missiles, or they see threats from missiles, and yada, yada, yada. There's a lot of the same hot headlines coming through, and USO is not really reacting that heavily to any of them. It's still gliding slowly to the downside. Like, you're not actually seeing any of these causing ridiculous spikes in oil like we were when this was like 20% ago. Just to reiterate, in case we get there, 107.75 to 8. Just that battle in here, the first time it looked like it was breaking trend, that's what I'm looking for in Intel. If there's more to VWAP, I'll look for another place to jump into the short. It just feels like every single day, come in looking for a dip and rip, it ends up breaking out, miss it, and then it's like the Intel ends up being a short for me at some point, even though I liked it long.
Okay. Yeah, so Pinterest, what a good level that was there, breaking the low of the pre-market and continuing to go lower there. We saw Pinterest come up with a huge move yesterday, and it looks like, that $25 mark, what a great level that was right there to come in and back and forth with. So Pinterest right there, $25, dumped off into 22.50 right off the open, and now trying to battle back, and looks like it rejects it off VWAP again. And back in there, watch out for $24 mark. If you are looking for a long on Pinterest, I don't think it's here. Underneath VWAP, underneath the 200 period moving average, Pinterest continues to move lower there. Another move today was PayPal. We saw them really starting to get hit as their conference call was ending, and a nice battle back. And we mentioned the 45 level, so nice battle back there off of 45. It's trying to climb again right through VWAP. So yeah, man, it's been a good one. I hope you guys enjoy the midday. The big name, Sharif Poet, you might want to look at there. Put that on your radar right now. $9, but 44 million, and actually looking pretty good. Sharif just mentioned that he's already on it, so we'll watch out for that. $9, what a great level there for Poet. We can see if it wants to wind up holding or not there. P-O-E-T. Right now, Poet trying to go. The market's maybe pulling back just a little bit, but it's 11 o'clock, so that's it for us. Thanks, Adara. Thanks, Brendan, everybody. Joe with your options. Sharif with the morning. It's Andre. Ramin's back in the building. Yeah, anybody that's helped us out today, and especially all of our viewers. We want to thank you guys for watching. That's Neil. I'm Sean. We'll check you back at 2 p.m. over to the Midday Show.